Settle into whatever position feels comfortable, and allow the room around you to become quiet. Let your shoulders rest without asking them to relax perfectly. Notice the gentle weight of your body, supported by the bed beneath you. Your breathing does not need to follow any special rhythm tonight. It can simply continue quietly and naturally as it always has. With each breath, the day may begin to feel slightly farther away. Thoughts can come and go without needing your attention. Tonight, we will wander through questions that science has not completely explained. These are not frightening mysteries, and they are not evidence of anything supernatural. They are simply open spaces at the edges of human understanding. Scientists have discovered a great deal about nature, life, matter, and the universe. Yet every discovery seems to reveal new questions, waiting quietly behind it. Some questions are enormous, stretching across galaxies and billions of years. Others are hidden inside a sleeping brain, a single cell, or a drop of seawater. There's no need to solve every mystery tonight. You can let the unanswered questions drift softly past you. Our journey begins far beyond the atmosphere, in the wide darkness between the stars. When astronomers observe galaxies, they notice something unusual about the way those galaxies rotate. Stars near a galaxy's outer edge often move faster than visible matter alone can explain. According to ordinary calculations, some of those stars should escape into intergalactic space. Instead, galaxies remain together, turning like immense and silent wheels. Scientists think an invisible form of matter may provide the additional gravity holding them together. This unknown substance is called dark matter. Dark matter does not appear to produce, reflect, or absorb light in familiar ways. We cannot photograph it directly with an ordinary telescope. Its presence is inferred through gravity and the movement of visible objects. Researchers have created many sensitive experiments hoping to detect possible dark matter particles. So far, no single candidate has been confirmed beyond reasonable doubt. Dark matter may consist of undiscovered particles moving quietly through the universe. It may involve something more complex than one type of particle. Some scientists also explore whether our understanding of gravity requires adjustment on very large scales. Most evidence still supports the existence of additional unseen matter, yet its true nature remains one of modern physics' greatest open questions. Imagine an invisible structure surrounding galaxies, shaping their motion without ever shining. It is not a shadow or hidden cloud in the ordinary sense. It is a scientific name for something whose effects are visible, while its identity remains uncertain. Beyond dark matter lies another question, even larger and more difficult to picture. The universe is not only expanding, measurements suggest that its expansion has been accelerating for several billion years. Gravity usually pulls matter together, so an accelerating expansion was deeply surprising. Scientists use the term dark energy for whatever causes this cosmic acceleration. The name does not describe a substance that has already been fully understood. It is a convenient label for an observed effect whose underlying cause remains unclear. Dark energy may be related to energy naturally present in empty space. It may involve a field that changes slowly over cosmic time. It may also reveal something incomplete in our current description of gravity. Different observations help researchers estimate how much dark energy influences the universe. Yet explaining why it exists and why it has its measured strength remains difficult. The amount seems tiny when considered within a small volume of space. Across the entire universe, however, its combined influence becomes enormous. Galaxies slowly grow farther apart as the fabric of space continues stretching. There is no rush in this expansion from our human point of view. On ordinary nights, the stars appear calm and nearly unchanged. the cosmic mystery unfolds across distances and timescales too large for daily life to notice. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep moving gently in the background. Now consider everything you have ever touched. Blankets, trees, stones, ocean water, and your own body are made primarily from matter. Matter has a counterpart called antimatter. For many particles, antimatter behaves like a mirrored version with an opposite electrical charge. When matter and antimatter meet, they can transform into other forms of energy. Experiments show that the early universe should have produced both in nearly equal amounts. Yet the observable universe appears to contain far more matter than antimatter. This imbalance is the reason stars, planets, and living bodies were able to form. If matter and antimatter had remained perfectly balanced, most might have annihilated long ago. Some small difference must have favored matter during the universe's earliest moments. Physicists have observed subtle differences between matter and antimatter in certain particle processes. However, the known differences do not yet fully explain the enormous cosmic imbalance. Experiments continue to examine rare particle decays and the behavior of elusive neutrinos. Researchers hope these studies may reveal how matter gained its slight advantage. It was perhaps an extremely small advantage at first. Over time, that tiny difference became every galaxy we can see. The atoms in your hands may exist because nature leaned slightly toward matter. Exactly how that happened is still not completely explained. We can move now from the distant universe towards something much closer. Inside your head, billions of nerve cells exchange electrical and chemical signals. From this activity emerges sight, sound, memory, emotion, attention, and the feeling of being present. Scientists can measure patterns of brain activity associated with many mental states. They can observe how injuries, medicines, sleep, and stimulation change conscious experience. Yet consciousness itself is still not fully understood. Researchers do not completely agree on how physical activity becomes subjective experience. A brain can process information, but processing alone does not explain what experience feels like. Why does red have a particular quality when you see it? Why does music feel different from silence, beyond the brain's measurable response? Why is there an inner point of view accompanying some forms of information processing? Several scientific theories attempt to describe how consciousness may arise. Some emphasize information shared widely across different regions of the brain. Others focus on integration, prediction, attention, or repeating loops of neural activity. These theories can be tested in certain ways, but none has settled every question. Consciousness may eventually be explained through principles not yet fully developed. It may also require a clearer definition before one complete theory becomes possible. This uncertainty does not mean the brain is beyond scientific study. It means consciousness is a difficult natural phenomenon with many layers. Even now, researchers are carefully separating questions that once seemed impossible to investigate. You do not need to think deeply about your own awareness tonight. You can simply notice that experience continues, soft and unforced. Sounds appear, thoughts pass, and the feeling of resting remains. As wakefulness begins to fade, another mysterious process may soon arrive. Dreams have been studied for centuries, but their complete purpose remains uncertain. Researchers know that dreaming often becomes vivid during rapid eye movement sleep. Dreamlike experiences can also occur during other stages of sleep. Brain regions involved in emotion, imagery, and memory may become highly active. Meanwhile, areas associated with careful logical evaluation may behave differently than during wakefulness. This may help explain why impossible events feel ordinary inside a dream. Scientists have proposed many possible functions for dreaming. Dreams may help the brain process emotions or reorganize memories. They may simulate challenging situations in a safe internal environment. They may reflect the brain's attempt to create meaning from spontaneous activity. Different dreams may serve different functions, or sometimes no specific function at all. The exact balance between these possibilities remains under investigation. Not every dream needs a hidden message. Many may simply be shifting mixtures of recent memories, old emotions, and imagined scenes. The sleeping brain can combine a childhood room with an unfamiliar ocean. It can place distant friends beneath skies that never existed. These strange stories appear without deliberate planning. Then they often dissolve within minutes of waking. Scientists are still studying why some dreams are remembered while others disappear. Memory systems behave differently during sleep, and waking attention may strengthen certain fragments. A dream recalled immediately may remain for years. Another dream may vanish before your eyes have fully opened. Perhaps tonight, you will dream without remembering anything at all. The experience may still pass quietly to the sleeping mind. You can let the unanswered questions drift softly past you. There is no need to hold on to every thought. Long before brains could dream, another remarkable transition occurred on Earth. At some point, chemistry became biology. Simple molecules formed systems capable of maintaining themselves, changing, and eventually reproducing. Scientists understand many chemical steps that could have contributed to this transition. Laboratory experiments have produced amino acids and other building blocks under plausible early conditions. Researchers have also studied molecules capable of storing information and supporting chemical reactions. Fat-like molecules can naturally form small bubbles resembling simple cellular boundaries. Mineral surfaces and hydrothermal environments may have concentrated useful ingredients. Yet no complete pathway from non-living chemistry to the first living system has been confirmed. We do not know exactly where life began. It may have started in shallow pools beneath the ocean, inside porous rocks, or across several environments. The first life was probably far simpler than any modern cell. Even the simplest cells alive today contain machinery shaped by billions of years of evolution. Looking at them is like studying a modern city while searching for the first shelter. Many early chemical experiments would have left no fossils behind. Their traces were recycled, altered, or erased by the restless young planet. Scientists therefore combine chemistry, geology, biology, and astronomy to explore the question. Each field offers part of the story, but the earliest chapters remain incomplete. The origin of life is not a single magical moment hidden from reason. It was likely a gradual series of natural transitions. Exactly which transitions occurred and in what order is still being studied. Every cell in your body carries the distant result of that ancient process. It continues quietly while you rest, repairing, exchanging, and maintaining delicate balances. For now, allow those balances to continue without your attention. The universe can expand without your supervision. Galaxies can turn within their invisible structures. Particles can keep their ancient secrets a little longer. The sleeping brain can prepare its own landscapes and stories. Life can remain a question whose answer is still unfolding. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. For this moment, it is enough to rest beside them, far beneath the ocean's surface. Sunlight gradually fades into blue, then into darkness. The water becomes colder, heavier, and quieter as the depth increases. Yet even in these remote places, life continues in forms we are still learning to understand. Much of the deep ocean has never been directly observed in detail. Research vessels and robotic explorers can visit only small regions at a time. Each descent reveals landscapes that seem both unfamiliar and strangely peaceful. There are broad plains covered with soft sediment. There are underwater mountains, deep trenches, and slow currents moving through darkness. There are animals that glow with blue, green, or red light. This natural light is called bioluminescence. Many deep-sea organisms produce it through chemical reactions inside their bodies. Some use light to attract prey or communicate with others. Some may use it to confuse predators or hide their silhouettes. Scientists understand several mechanisms behind bioluminescence, yet the complete language of deep-sea light is still not fully understood. A brief flash may be a warning, an invitation, or distraction. Long chains of light may carry signals through water, too dark for ordinary vision. Some creatures produce patterns that researchers have observed only a few times. Their behavior may change with depth, season, hunger, or nearby movement. In the deep ocean, observation itself is difficult. Bright equipment can disturb animals accustomed to almost complete darkness. The sound of a vehicle may change their natural behavior before cameras arrive. Researchers therefore design quieter instruments and dimmer lights. They are learning to watch without changing the scene too much. Still, every expedition offers only a short window into an enormous world. There is no need to explore every hidden valley tonight. You can imagine the ocean resting quietly beneath the surface. Near certain cracks in the seafloor, seawater sinks into hot rock. It becomes heated and enriched with minerals before rising again. This creates hydrothermal vents, where dark plumes drift into cold water. The environment seems harsh, yet complex communities gather around these vents. Tube worms, crabs, mussels, and microbes live without depending directly on sunlight. Instead, many rely on chemical energy released from the earth. Scientists understand the basic process, known as chemosynthesis. Microbes use certain chemicals to build energy-rich molecules. Other animals depend on these microbes for food, yet many details of vent ecosystems remain uncertain. Researchers still study how new vents are colonized. Some vent fields appear suddenly after volcanic activity. Life may arrive through drifting larvae or microbes carried by deep currents. But the distances between suitable habitats can be immense. How tiny organisms locate these isolated places is not completely explained. Some may follow chemical signals spreading through the water. Others may travel passively until chance brings them near a suitable vent. Deep currents may form hidden pathways connecting distant ecosystems. These pathways are difficult to map because they shift slowly and irregularly. The communities around vents also change as the vents themselves grow quiet. A vent may remain active for decades, centuries, or longer. Eventually, its flow can weaken, forcing the surrounding life to adapt or disperse. The complete life cycle of these ecosystems is still being studied. Farther across the seafloor, another quiet event can create an entire habitat. When a large whale dies, its body may sink to the water. It eventually reaches the bottom, becoming what researchers call a whale fall. For years, sometimes decades, many organisms use the remains for food and shelter. Different communities arrive in stages. Scavengers first remove soft tissue. Smaller organisms then settle into the surrounding sediment. Later, microbes slowly process fats stored inside the bones. Scientists have documented several whale falls, but many questions remain. No one knows exactly how often they occur across the global ocean. It is also unclear how many species depend on them. Some organisms may use whale falls as temporary stepping stones between distant habitats. They may move gradually across the seafloor over many generations. This possibility is difficult to confirm because the ocean is so vast. A single skeleton can support a quiet island of life in the darkness. Around it, chemical energy passes from one organism to another. Nothing is hurried there. Even decay can become a slow beginning for something else. The deep ocean also contains countless microorganisms that have never been grown in laboratories. Scientists sometimes call this hidden diversity, microbial dark matter. The phrase does not mean these organisms are mysterious in a supernatural sense. It simply describes life known mainly through fragments of genetic information. A sample of seawater may contain thousands of microbial species. Many cannot survive under ordinary laboratory conditions. They may depend on precise pressures, temperatures, minerals, or neighboring organisms. Some exchange nutrients so closely that one species cannot live alone. Others grow too slowly to observe within a typical experiment. Modern genetic tools allow researchers to detect their presence without cultivating them. Small pieces of DNA can reveal unfamiliar branches on the tree of life. Yet a genetic sequence does not explain everything an organism does. Scientists must still determine how it gathers energy, interacts, and survives. Some microbes may influence ocean chemistry on a global scale. They may help cycle carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, and other elements. Their combined activity can affect the atmosphere and climate, yet many of these processes are measured only indirectly. The smallest life forms may have some of the largest collective effects. You can let that thought move gently onward. Invisible communities continue working throughout the ocean, whether anyone observes them or not. Above the sea, animals perform journeys that scientists understand only in part. Birds migrate across continents and oceans with remarkable precision. Sea turtles return to beaches near the places where they hatched. Salmon travel from rivers to the open ocean, then find their way home. Butterflies cross distances that no single generation completes alone. Researchers know that animals use many different sources of information. They may follow stars, sunlight, smells, landmarks, currents, and polarized light. Some also appear sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field. This ability is called magnetoreception. Exactly how magnetic sensing works in different animals is still not fully understood. One possibility involves light-sensitive proteins inside the eyes. Under certain conditions, these proteins may respond to magnetic fields through quantum processes. Another possibility involves tiny magnetic particles inside the body. These particles may act like microscopic compass needles. Evidence exists for both mechanisms in some species. Yet locating the exact biological sensors has proven difficult. The signals are extremely weak. Experiments must carefully separate magnetic effects from light, smell, sound, and memory. Animals may also combine several navigational systems at once. A bird could use stars at night and landmarks during daylight. It might use magnetic information when clouds hide the sky. Smell may become important near the destination. This flexibility makes navigation reliable, but harder to study. A successful journey does not reveal which clues guided each moment. Young animals sometimes navigate correctly without following experienced adults. This suggests that part of the map may be inherited, yet inherited instructions must somehow interact with changing landscapes. Coastlines move, weather shifts, and magnetic fields slowly change. How instinct becomes a flexible journey remains one of biology's gentle, open questions. Imagine a small bird moving beneath a night sky. It does not understand latitude or draw a map. Still, it adjusts its direction and continues through the darkness. The answer may involve many quiet senses working together. Inside the human brain, time is also measured in ways that remain incomplete. A minute can feel brief during an absorbing activity. The same minute may feel much longer while waiting. Clocks continue steadily, but experienced time stretches and contracts. Scientists have identified brain networks involved in attention, memory, and timing. Different systems may measure milliseconds, seconds, and longer intervals. There may be no single clock inside the brain. Instead, time perception may emerge from several interacting processes. Attention appears to influence how much temporal information is noticed. Motion can also change the experience. New situations often seem longer because the brain records many details. Familiar routines may feel shorter because fewer distinct memories are formed. This may help explain why a busy childhood summer seems expansive in memory. Later years can appear to pass more quickly when days become more predictable. However, this explanation is only part of the story. Chemistry, body temperature, movement, and expectation may also influence timing. Some experiments suggest that the brain predicts when events should occur. When those predictions are accurate, the world feels smooth and continuous. When events arrive unexpectedly, time may briefly seem altered. Scientists are still studying how these signals become the feeling of duration. There is no need to measure this night carefully. Minutes can pass without being counted. You may notice only the steady comfort of remaining still. Another open question involves the placebo effect. A placebo is a treatment without the specific active ingredient being tested. Yet some people experience real changes after receiving one. Pain may lessen, nausea may ease, or movement may temporarily improve. These changes are not simply imaginary. Brain imaging and chemical measurements can reveal genuine biological responses. Expectations can influence systems involved in pain, stress, and reward. The surrounding ritual of care may also matter. A trusted clinician, a familiar setting, or a convincing explanation can shape the response. Past experiences may teach the brain to associate treatment with relief. The body can then produce part of that response again. However, placebos do not affect every condition. They do not remove infections, repair broken bones, or replace effective medical treatment. Their effects also vary greatly between people and situations. Scientists are still studying why some individuals respond more strongly. Genetics may play a role. Personality, learning history, culture, and the type of symptom may also matter. Even the color, size, or presentation of a pill can influence expectations. This reveals something subtle about the relationship between meaning and biology. The brain does not merely observe the body, it continually predicts, interprets, and adjusts bodily signals. Exactly how expectation becomes physical change is not completely explained. The nocebo effect shows the opposite pattern. Negative expectations can sometimes increase discomfort or side effects. Again, this does not mean symptoms are unreal. It means experience can shape biological processes in measurable ways. Researchers hope that understanding these effects can improve honest medical care. The goal is not to deceive patients. It is to understand how communication, trust, and context influence healing. For tonight, you need expect nothing from your rest. Sleep does not need to arrive on command. You can simply remain comfortable while the story continues. In the atmosphere, another phenomenon appears rarely and disappears quickly. Ball lightning has been described as a glowing sphere during some thunderstorms. Reports vary in color, size, movement, and duration. Some observations may have ordinary explanations, such as electrical equipment or visual effects. Yet a smaller number of well-documented cases remain difficult to explain completely. Scientists have proposed several possible mechanisms. One idea involves vaporized material from soil reacting in the air. Another involves plasma shaped by electrical or electromagnetic fields. Microwave energy may sometimes create glowing pockets near lightning strikes. Laboratory experiments have produced brief luminous spheres through several methods. However, no single model explains every reliable observation. Natural ball lightning is rare and unpredictable. Researchers cannot easily place instruments nearby before it appears. Most evidence comes from witnesses, photographs, or accidental recordings. This makes careful comparison difficult. It may be that several different phenomena receive the same name. Similar appearances can arise from different physical causes. Science often advances by separating one broad mystery into smaller questions. Ball lightning may eventually become several understood events rather than one unusual event. For now, it remains a rare atmospheric puzzle. You do not need to picture a storm. Imagine only a distant cloud, softly illuminated from within. The sound is far away, and the night around you remains calm. Even ordinary flowing water contains one of physics' deepest unsolved problems. When water or air moves smoothly, its path can be predicted fairly well, but faster motion often becomes turbulent. Eddies form inside larger eddies. Energy passes through swirling patterns across many different sizes. Turbulence appears in rivers, clouds, ocean currents, airplane wakes, and stirred tea. The equations describing fluid motion have been known for a long time, yet their turbulent solutions can become extraordinarily complicated. Small differences may grow rapidly. Detailed prediction becomes difficult even with powerful computers. Scientists can calculate averages and probabilities with great success. Engineers use these methods to design aircraft, pipes, turbines, and weather models. Still, a complete mathematical understanding of turbulence remains unfinished. Researchers do not yet possess one simple theory explaining every turbulent flow. The problem connects tiny molecular motions with vast structures in oceans and atmospheres. Patterns form, break apart, and transfer energy in ways that are partly universal. The same mathematical features can appear in smoke, waves, and interstellar gas. Turbulence is not disorder without rules. It is structure that changes faster than simple descriptions can follow. You might imagine a slow curl of cream spreading through tea. Each delicate branch divides into finer patterns. Soon, the boundary disappears, and the liquid becomes evenly mixed. Within that ordinary movement lives a problem still studied by physicists and mathematicians. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. The unanswered questions can continue without you. Beneath the ocean, microbes exchange invisible nutrients. Birds travel beneath stars using senses we only partly understand. The brain quietly reshapes time, expectation, and sensation. Water folds into currents within currents. All these processes continue naturally, without explanation being required in every moment. Understanding can wait until morning. For now, curiosity may become softer than thought. It may simply be the feeling of resting beside a wide and unfinished world. Above the visible surface of the sun lies a vast, faint atmosphere called the corona. During a total solar eclipse, it appears as a pale halo extending into space. The sun's surface is extremely hot, at roughly several thousand degrees. Yet the outer corona reaches temperatures of more than 1,000,000 degrees. This seems surprising because the corona lies farther from the sun's central heat source. Usually, temperature falls as distance from a heat source increases. In the solar atmosphere, however, the pattern becomes more complicated. Scientists know that magnetic fields carry energy upward from the sun's surface. The surface is constantly moving, boiling, twisting, and rearranging those magnetic fields. Some of that stored energy is released into the corona. Yet the exact balance of processes remains one of solar physics' open questions. Tiny explosions, called nanoflares, may occur throughout the solar atmosphere. Each individual event could be too small to notice clearly. Together, however, countless nanoflares might supply a large amount of heat. Another possibility involves waves traveling along magnetic fields. These waves may transfer energy upward before releasing it into the surrounding plasma. Both processes probably contribute. Scientists are still studying how much each mechanism provides under different conditions. Spacecraft now observe the sun with extraordinary detail. They measure magnetic fields, particles, temperatures, and waves near the solar surface. Every new image reveals delicate loops rising through the corona. Some loops remain stable for hours, others brighten, twist, or slowly dissolve. The solar corona is not empty. It is a restless ocean of charged particles guided by invisible magnetic structures. Even so, from Earth, the sun appears calm and steady. Its light enters the room without revealing the complex activity behind it. There is no need to follow every magnetic wave tonight. You can let the bright corona remain far beyond the quiet atmosphere. Across much greater distances, astronomers sometimes detect brief bursts of radio energy. These signals are known as fast radio bursts. Most last only a tiny fraction of a second. Yet during that moment, they can release an extraordinary amount of energy. The signals travel across immense regions of space before reaching our instruments. Their arrival times at different radio frequencies reveal the material they crossed. Because of this, fast radio bursts can help scientists study otherwise invisible matter between galaxies. The first burst seemed isolated and difficult to trace. Later, astronomers discovered that some sources repeat. A few repeating bursts follow patterns of activity over days or months. Others appear irregularly without an obvious schedule. Scientists now know that at least some bursts come from highly magnetized neutron stars. These compact objects are called magnetars. A magnetar contains more mass than the Sun within a region about the size of a city. Its magnetic field is among the strongest known in nature. In one nearby galaxy, a magnetar produced a radio burst resembling weaker versions of distant events. This was an important clue, yet magnetars may not explain every fast radio burst. Different sources may create similar signals through different processes. Researchers are still studying what triggers each burst. A cracking crust, a magnetic rearrangement, or a sudden plasma event may be involved. Some bursts show detailed structures lasting only microseconds. Others contain several components, like brief notes in a distant radio pattern. These features carry information about the environment around the source. Strong magnetic fields can twist the signal as it travels. Gas and plasma can scatter it into a softer tail. By studying these changes, astronomers slowly reconstruct places they cannot directly see. The bursts are not messages or signs of hidden intention. They are natural events produced by extreme cosmic environments. Their mystery comes from distance, rarity, and incomplete observation. Imagine a short pulse leaving a distant galaxy. It crosses quiet space for millions or billions of years. Then, for a fraction of a second, it passes through a radio telescope on Earth. The signal is recorded, measured, and added to a growing scientific story. You do not need to remain awake for the next signal. The universe will continue sending its brief, natural flashes into the darkness. Closer to home, the ground beneath us also holds unanswered questions. Scientists understand why most earthquakes occur. Stress builds where sections of Earth's crust move against one another. When rock suddenly slips along a fault, stored energy travels outward as seismic waves. This basic process is well established. What remains difficult is predicting the exact time, location, and size of a future earthquake. Researchers can identify regions with greater long-term risk. They can study fault histories and estimate probabilities across decades. They can also detect an earthquake quickly after it begins. Some warning systems send alerts before the strongest shaking reaches more distant locations. But this is early warning, not advanced prediction. A reliable prediction would need to identify a specific earthquake before it starts. So far, no signal has proven consistent enough for that purpose. Small tremors sometimes increase before larger events. Groundwater, gases, electrical properties, or animal behavior may also change occasionally. However, these changes do not occur reliably before every earthquake. They can also happen without a major earthquake following. The crust is a complicated network of rock, pressure, temperature, and fluid. A fault may remain still despite enormous stress. Another section may slip after a small additional change. The final trigger can be extremely subtle. Scientists therefore focus on probability, monitoring, construction standards, and rapid alerts. This approach saves lives without claiming certainty. That does not exist. The inability to predict exact earthquakes does not mean nothing is understood. It reflects the difficulty of observing deep rock directly. It also shows how complex systems can approach a threshold quietly. Researchers continue placing sensors across land and beneath the ocean. They measure tiny changes in motion that humans cannot feel. Over time, these records reveal how faults behave before and after major events. Perhaps future instruments will identify more useful patterns. For now, the honest scientific answer remains careful and incomplete. The Earth beneath you is not waiting ominously. It is simply a planet whose crust moves very slowly over geological time. Tonight, the floor beneath the room can feel steady and supportive. Let the unanswered geological questions remain far below. Another mystery appears when we ask why time seems to move in one direction. Many fundamental equations work almost equally well forward or backward. A video of two particles colliding may still look physically possible when reversed, yet ordinary life does not behave that way. A cup can fall and break. The pieces do not naturally leap together and return to the table. Warm objects cool in colder rooms. Heat does not usually gather itself and return without outside work. Memories describe the past, not the future. This direction is often called the arrow of time. It is closely connected to entropy. Entropy is a measure related to how many microscopic arrangements can produce the same overall state. Highly ordered conditions often have fewer possible arrangements. More mixed conditions usually have many more. Because there are so many more disordered arrangements, systems naturally tend to move toward them. Cream spreads through coffee because mixed states are overwhelmingly more numerous. Air leaves an open container and fills the room for the same reason. This statistical explanation works extremely well. Yet it leads to a deeper question. Why did the early universe begin in such a low entropy state? The universe was hot and smooth soon after the beginning. That smoothness allowed gravity to form stars, galaxies, planets, and complex structures later. A more disordered beginning might have produced a very different cosmos. Scientists have proposed several ideas about the universe's initial condition. Some involve inflation, quantum cosmology, or larger cosmic histories. None has completely explained why the arrow of time began as it did. Our sense of past and future may depend on this ancient imbalance. Without it, there might be no lasting records, growth, aging, or memory. Every photograph and footprint is possible because physical processes leave traces behind. You remember earlier moments because your brain stores information through irreversible changes. The future remains open because those records have not yet formed. It is a profound question, but it can also feel gentle. Time carries each moment away without asking you to hold it. You can let this moment pass into the next. Nothing needs to be reversed. Nothing from the day needs to be repaired tonight. A nearby mystery lives inside the ordinary act of remembering. Memory does not function like a perfect recording. Each remembered event is partly reconstructed when it returns to awareness. Details may become stronger, weaker, or connected to later information. Scientists understand many brain systems involved in memory. The hippocampus helps organize new experiences and connect their elements. Other regions gradually store knowledge, skills, emotions, and familiar patterns. During sleep, the brain may replay and strengthen parts of recent experience. Yet researchers are still studying how stable memories are maintained across many years. The molecules inside neurons are constantly replaced. Cells change their connections and respond to new experiences. Still, some memories can remain recognizable for decades. How does a changing biological system preserve information for so long? Part of the answer lies in patterns of connections between neurons. Repeated activity can strengthen certain pathways. Gene activity and protein production can stabilize these changes. Networks may also refresh memories through occasional reactivation, but no single mechanism explains every form of long-term memory. A childhood smell can return suddenly after years of silence. A melody may remain even when many surrounding details have disappeared. Emotional memories can feel vivid while their factual details become less accurate. The brain seems to preserve meaning, fragments, and relationships differently. Remembering can also change the memory itself. When a memory is recalled, it may briefly become flexible. It is then stored again in a process called reconsolidation. This allows memories to update as new information becomes available. It also means that remembering is an active event, not passive playback. The past inside the mind is stable enough to guide us, yet it remains flexible enough to change with understanding. Scientists continue studying how these two qualities remain balanced. Tonight, you do not need to search through old memories. They can stay where they are, quiet and unexamined. Sleep may sort what matters without conscious effort. The mind can keep some details and release others. There's no need to decide which is which. Elsewhere in the brain, another unanswered question concerns anesthesia. Modern anesthesia can remove awareness, pain, movement, or memory during medical procedures. Different medicines act on different receptors and neural systems. Doctors understand how to use them safely and monitor their effects carefully. Yet the precise way general anesthesia removes conscious experience is still not completely explained. The brain does not simply switch off. Many neurons remain active. Breathing, circulation, and automatic regulation may continue with medical support. What changes is the coordination between brain regions. Communication that normally integrates perception and awareness becomes disrupted. Some theories suggest that information can no longer spread widely across the brain. Others emphasize changes in connectivity, complexity, or thalamic activity. Different anesthetic drugs may reach unconsciousness through partly different pathways. This makes one universal explanation difficult. Anesthesia also raises questions about memory. A person may respond weakly to a sound without later remembering it. Some brain activity continues even when conscious experience appears absent. Researchers study these boundaries to understand both anesthesia and consciousness itself. The mystery is not that anesthesia fails to work. Its effects are reliable and carefully measured. The open question is how molecular changes become the absence of experience. This question resembles sleep, but sleep and anesthesia are not identical. Natural sleep follows repeating cycles. A sleeping person can often awaken quickly, under anesthesia. Brain dynamics are altered in different and more controlled ways. Comparing these states helps scientists map the conditions needed for awareness. As you move closer to sleep, your own brain remains safely within its natural rhythm. Wakefulness may fade gradually. Sounds may lose their sharp edges. Thoughts may become less organized and more dreamlike. There is no need to notice the exact moment when sleep begins. The transition often happens without a clear boundary. One thought becomes an image. An image becomes a scene. Then the night continues without commentary. In the natural world, plants also respond to signals in ways still being explored. A plant has no brain or nervous system, yet it senses light, gravity, moisture, touch, temperature, and chemical damage. Roots change direction as they encounter different soils. Leaves adjust their positions to gather light. Some plants release airborne chemicals after insects begin feeding. Nearby tissues, and sometimes nearby plants, may respond to those chemicals. Scientists understand many hormones and signaling pathways behind these behaviors. Electrical signals can also travel through plant tissues. Calcium waves move from one region to another after injury or stress. These signals help coordinate defenses and growth. However, researchers are still studying how plants combine many signals at once. A root may encounter water, salt, nutrients, obstacles, and microbes simultaneously. It must adjust growth without any central control system. Different cells respond locally, yet the whole plant behaves in a coordinated way. This coordination emerges from chemistry, transport, gene activity, and feedback. Some popular descriptions call this plant intelligence. Scientists use that word cautiously because it can imply human-like thought. Plants do not need conscious minds to perform complex adaptive behavior. Their abilities can arise from distributed biological systems. The open question is how much information those systems can store and integrate. Experiments suggest that some plants adjust future responses based on earlier conditions. Whether this should be called memory depends on how memory is defined. A plant may retain chemical or structural changes after drought. Those changes can influence later growth. This is a real biological effect, even without subjective experience. Quiet complexity does not require a hidden mind. It can emerge from many simple processes working together. Imagine roots spreading slowly through dark soil. They follow moisture, avoid barriers, and exchange chemicals with fungi. No single root tip understands the whole forest, yet the network continues to grow. You can let your own thoughts become equally distributed and soft. No central effort is needed. The body already knows how to move towards sleep. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. The solar corona can continue glowing above the sun. Radio bursts can cross the spaces between galaxies. Faults can be measured, memories can be reshaped, and roots can follow water. Each unanswered question belongs to a larger field of careful study. None requires a sudden or dramatic answer. Science often moves through small improvements in measurement. A better telescope reveals a shorter radio pulse. A deeper sensor records a quieter movement in rock. A new experiment separates one memory process from another. Understanding grows gradually, like dawn appearing across a dark landscape. But dawn is still far away. For now, the night remains calm. You can let the open questions continue gently in the background. And if sleep has already begun to approach, there is nothing more you need to do. Far below the surface of Earth, beyond every mine and ocean trench, the planet remains difficult to observe directly. Seismic waves from earthquakes travel through the interior and change speed as they cross different materials. By studying those waves, scientists have mapped the crust, mantle, outer core, and inner core. The inner core is a sphere of solid metal surrounded by a liquid outer core. It lies more than 5,000 kilometers beneath your resting body. No instrument has ever reached it. Everything known about it comes from indirect measurements, laboratory experiments, and physical models. Scientists know that the inner core is made mainly of iron and nickel. They also know that it behaves differently from a simple solid sphere. Seismic waves travel faster in some directions than others. This suggests that the crystals inside may be aligned by pressure, flow, or gradual growth. Some studies indicate that the inner core may rotate slightly differently from Earth's surface. Other measurements suggest that this rotation changes over time. The data are delicate because waves must travel through the entire planet before being recorded. A small difference in arrival time can have several possible explanations. The inner core may contain distinct layers formed during different periods of Earth's history. Its deepest region may preserve an ancient structure, unlike the material surrounding it. Scientists are still studying how the core cools, crystallizes, and releases heat. These processes help power the magnetic field surrounding Earth. The magnetic field guides compass needles and shields the atmosphere from many charged particles. Yet the exact flow patterns generating it are too deep and complex to observe directly. Computer simulations recreate parts of this hidden motion. However, no simulation captures every scale and condition inside the core. Imagine slow rivers of liquid metal moving beneath a solid metallic center. Their motion takes place under pressures far beyond anything on the surface. From that unseen movement, a vast magnetic field reaches into space. There's no need to picture the depths too clearly. The ground can remain simple, quiet, and supportive beneath you. Closer to the surface, Earth's magnetic field has another unfinished story. At irregular intervals, magnetic north and south have exchanged places. These events are called geomagnetic reversals. They are preserved in volcanic rocks and sediments across the planet. As molten rock cools, magnetic minerals align with the field around them. Once solid, they can retain a record of that direction. These records show that reversals have happened many times. However, they do not occur on a regular schedule. Some intervals between reversals are short. Others last for tens of millions of years. Scientists understand that changes in the liquid outer core drive these shifts. Yet they cannot predict exactly when the next reversal will happen. The process does not occur in a single instant. The field may weaken, become more complicated, and form several temporary poles. Then, a new stable arrangement gradually emerges. Computer models have reproduced similar behavior under certain conditions. Even so, the timing depends on turbulent flows that are difficult to calculate in detail. A reversal would not make the magnetic field disappear completely. It would also not suddenly overturn the planet or change gravity. Life has passed through many previous reversals. The mystery is not whether they happen. It is how the deep core decides, through natural fluid motion, when to reorganize. The answer unfolds far below the surface and over long periods. Tonight, nothing beneath you needs to change quickly. The planet can continue its slow interior movements without your attention. In the upper atmosphere, lightning begins with another process. Still not completely explained, scientists understand how electrical charge separates inside storm clouds. Collisions among ice particles, droplets, and soft hail help create regions of opposite charge. When the electric field becomes strong enough, lightning can discharge that imbalance. Yet the exact first step of a lightning bolt remains difficult to observe. The electric fields measured inside storms often seem weaker than laboratory values required to break down air. Something may help the discharge begin under natural conditions. Small pockets of stronger electric field may form around ice particles. Cosmic rays may create energetic electrons that begin a chain reaction. Invisible bursts of radiation have also been detected within some thunderstorms. These brief flashes suggest that particles can reach remarkable energies inside clouds. Scientists are still studying how these processes connect. A lightning channel grows in many small stages. Faint branching paths extend through the air before the bright return stroke appears. The brilliant flash is only the most visible part of a longer electrical conversation. High-speed cameras and radio instruments now capture details once too fast to see. Each observation helps reveal how the channel chooses its winding path. Still, no single explanation describes every type of lightning. Some bolts travel between clouds, others move upward from tall structures. A few extend hundreds of kilometers across the sky. Above some storms, faint red and blue flashes reach toward space. These upper atmospheric events are called sprites, jets, and elves. Their names sound imaginative, but they are measurable electrical phenomena. Scientists understand their broad connection to thunderstorms. Yet their detailed formation and influence on atmospheric chemistry remain active areas of research. You can imagine the storm from very far away. Clouds drift above an empty horizon. A quiet flash briefly illuminates their shape. Then darkness returns, wide and undisturbed. There is no need to follow the thunder. Let it fade beyond the edge of the night. Within those clouds, even the growth of a simple raindrop contains subtle questions. Water vapor can remain in the air even when conditions seem cold enough for condensation. Usually, it needs a tiny surface on which to gather. Dust, salt, smoke, pollen, and microscopic particles can serve as cloud seeds. Some particles attract water more easily than others. Ice crystals also require suitable surfaces before they form. Researchers understand many of these interactions. However, real clouds contain enormous mixtures of particles, droplets, and changing air currents. A small change in particle size can influence how bright a cloud becomes. It may also affect whether that cloud produces rain. These processes are important for weather and climate. Clouds can cool Earth by reflecting sunlight. They can also warm it by trapping heat. Their overall effect depends on altitude, thickness, droplet size, and time of day. Climate models represent clouds with increasing skill. Yet cloud feedback remains one of the more difficult parts of long-term climate prediction. The challenge is not that scientists know nothing about clouds. It is that tiny processes must be represented across the entire atmosphere. A droplet forms around a particle smaller than the width of a hair. Millions of such droplets gather into a cloud stretching across hundreds of kilometers. That cloud may then influence energy flows across the planet. The small and the large are connected through countless moving layers. Imagine a cloud forming slowly above a sleeping landscape. Individual droplets are too small to see. Together, they create a pale shape drifting across the moon. Understanding them completely can wait. The cloud does not need to know its own equations in order to float. At the smallest scales of matter, measurement itself raises a different kind of open question. Quantum mechanics predicts the behavior of particles with extraordinary accuracy. Its equations describe atoms, lasers, semiconductors, and much of modern technology. Yet the theory does not always describe one definite outcome before a measurement. Instead, it assigns probabilities to several possible results. When an experiment is performed, only one result is observed. Why a particular possibility becomes the experienced outcome is still debated. This is known broadly as the quantum measurement problem. Different interpretations explain the mathematics in different ways. Some treat the quantum state as a tool for predicting observations. Others suggest that all possible outcomes remain in separate branches. Some propose that physical collapse occurs under special conditions. Others emphasize the role of interaction with the surrounding environment. This environmental process is called decoherence. Decoherence explains why delicate quantum combinations become effectively classical very quickly. It helps show why tables and stones do not appear in visible mixtures of different positions. However, many physicists debate whether decoherence alone fully resolves the measurement problem. The disagreement is not about whether quantum mechanics works. Its predictions have been confirmed with remarkable precision. The open question concerns what the theory says. Reality is like beneath those predictions. Experiments continue to test larger objects and more complex quantum states. Researchers hope these tests may distinguish between certain possibilities. For now, several interpretations remain compatible with existing evidence. You do not need to choose among them tonight. A particle may remain a probability in the background of the story. Your blanket remains comfortably ordinary. The room does not need to become strange. Quantum uncertainty lives quietly beneath the familiar stability of everyday matter. Another question appears in the empty spaces between particles. According to quantum theory, even a perfect vacuum is not simply nothing. Fields remain present, and measurable effects can arise from their lowest energy states. This idea has been confirmed in several carefully designed experiments, yet calculating the energy of empty space creates a major difficulty. Simple estimates produce values enormously larger than the cosmic acceleration attributed to dark energy. The difference between theory and observation is one of physics' greatest mismatches. Scientists call this the cosmological constant problem. Something may cancel most vacuum energy. The calculation may be missing a deeper principle. Gravity may interact with quantum fields in a way not yet understood. No accepted theory currently unites quantum mechanics and gravity completely. General relativity describes stars, planets, galaxies, and the structure of space-time. Quantum theory describes particles and forces at microscopic scales. Each works extremely well in its own domain, but in places where both are essential, such as the center of a black hole, difficulties appear. Researchers study approaches, including string theory, loop quantum gravity, and other frameworks. These ideas offer possible mathematical paths. None has yet received decisive experimental confirmation. The scales involved are extraordinarily small or energetic. Direct tests are therefore difficult. Sometimes science must wait for a new instrument or a new way of asking the question. The gap between theories is not an embarrassment. It is an honest boundary showing where deeper understanding may still be found. You can let that boundary remain open. There is no need to unite every force before sleep arrives. Inside living cells, another unfinished question concerns the origin of biological handedness. Many molecules can exist in two mirror image forms. They contain the same atoms, but are arranged like left and right hands. In non-living chemistry, both forms are often produced together. Life, however, strongly favors one orientation. Proteins are built mainly from left-handed amino acids. DNA and RNA use sugars with the opposite handedness. This consistency is essential because biological molecules fit together with great precision. Scientists still do not know exactly why early life chose these particular forms. A slight imbalance may have existed before life began. Polarized light, mineral surfaces, or radiation from space could have favored one orientation. Meteorites have been found with small excesses of certain molecular forms. Alternatively, the first self-replicating systems may have made a random choice. Once one orientation became established, chemical feedback could have amplified it. Experiments show that small imbalances can sometimes grow larger under suitable conditions. Yet no single pathway has been confirmed as the origin of life's molecular handedness. The choice may have been partly accidental. On another world, life might use the opposite arrangement. Its chemistry could be familiar in function, but mirrored in structure. This possibility remains speculative, but it follows from ordinary chemistry. The molecules in your body all share this ancient orientation. Enzymes recognize their partners because the shapes fit. Cells build tissues because countless molecular surfaces align correctly. A choice made billions of years ago continues quietly in every breath. There is no need to understand how that choice began. Your body already carries it without effort. Within the body, scientists are also learning how trillions of microbes influence human life. The gut microbiome contains bacteria, viruses, fungi, and other microorganisms. Many help break down food and produce useful compounds. They interact with the immune system and the lining of the digestive tract. Their genes add an enormous range of chemical abilities to the body. Researchers have found associations between microbiome patterns and many health conditions, yet association does not always reveal cause. Illness, diet, medication, sleep, age, and environment can all change microbial communities. Those same communities may then influence the body in return. Separating cause from consequence is difficult. Two healthy people can have very different microbial populations. There may not be one ideal microbiome shared by everyone. Functions may matter more than exact species. Different microbes can sometimes perform similar chemical tasks. The community also changes from day to day. A meal, journey, infection, or course of antibiotics may shift the balance. Some changes disappear quickly. Others may last much longer. Scientists are still studying which changes are helpful, harmful, or simply neutral. The microbiome can communicate with the brain through immune signals, hormones, and nerve pathways. This is sometimes called the gut-brain axis. Animal studies reveal strong effects under controlled conditions. Human biology is more complicated, and many popular claims go beyond current evidence. Researchers are working carefully to identify which connections are reliable. The goal is not to treat the microbiome as a hidden controller of everything. It is one biological community among many, interacting with the rest of the body. Right now, these organisms continue their quiet chemical work. They do not require conscious guidance. The body maintains countless relationships while you rest. If your thoughts are becoming less distinct, you can let them soften. the story will keep moving gently in the background. Another open question concerns why animals gather into coordinated groups. Flocks of birds can turn almost as one shape. Schools of fish divide and reunite without visible leaders. Insects build nests containing tunnels, chambers, and ventilation systems. Scientists have discovered simple rules behind much of this behavior. An individual may match the movement of nearby neighbors. It may keep a safe distance while remaining close to the group. Ants can follow chemical trails and strengthen useful paths. Bees can communicate direction through patterned movement. Yet large groups sometimes display abilities not obvious in any single member. A flock can respond quickly to a predator. A colony can allocate workers to changing needs. A school of fish can move like a flexible body through water. This is called collective behavior or swarm intelligence. Researchers are still studying how information travels through these groups. Does each animal respond only to its nearest neighbors? Do certain individuals have greater influence? How does a group avoid amplifying mistakes? The answers vary across species and situations. Sometimes, leadership is temporary. An individual with useful information may guide the group for a while. At other times, coordination emerges without any leader. Computer models recreate many of these patterns using simple rules. Still, real animals add memory, personality, hunger, fear, and experience. Their groups are both physical systems and living communities. Imagine a distant flock crossing a pale evening sky. No bird sees the entire shape. Each responds to a small part of the moving whole, yet the flock bends, narrows, and opens again. Complex order can emerge without a central plan. Your own thoughts can do something similar tonight. They may gather, separate, and drift away. No single thought needs to lead. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. The planet can keep its metallic heart hidden. Clouds can form around particles too small to see. Quantum fields can remain uncertain beneath familiar objects. Cells can preserve an ancient molecular handedness. Birds can turn together beneath the darkening sky. Science will continue asking careful questions tomorrow. For now, the unanswered world can become quiet company. Let each mystery pass like a cloud beyond the window. You do not need to remember where it began. You do not need to follow where it goes. It is enough to rest while understanding remains gently unfinished. Beyond our galaxy, the universe continues expanding in every direction. Distant galaxies move away as space itself stretches between them. Scientists can measure this expansion in more than one way. One method studies the early universe through the cosmic microwave background. This faint radiation is ancient light released when the cosmos first became transparent. Its tiny patterns reveal the universe's early density, composition, and geometry. From those measurements, researchers can calculate how fast expansion should be happening today. Another method begins much closer to home. Astronomers measure distances to nearby stars, whose brightness changes in predictable ways. They then use those stars to calibrate supernovae in more distant galaxies. This creates a ladder of measurements extending farther into space. For years, these two approaches have produced slightly different expansion rates. The difference is often called the Hubble tension. It may come from an overlooked source of measurement. Uncertainty, dust, stellar environments, instrument calibration, or assumptions within the models could contribute. However, many independent studies have continued to find a similar disagreement. If the measurements are correct, the universe may contain something not included in the standard model of cosmology. There could have been additional energy in the early universe. An unknown particle might have influenced how matter and radiation evolved. dark energy may behave differently than the simplest theory assumes. Scientists are still testing each possibility carefully. No new explanation has yet become the clear and complete answer. The difference is not enormous. It is a subtle mismatch hidden within extremely precise measurements. Yet subtle mismatches can sometimes reveal important new physics. Astronomy often advances when two trustworthy methods refuse to agree perfectly. Imagine scientists measuring the same vast sky from opposite directions. Each method is carefully built, checked, and repeated. Still, a small space remains between the answers. There is no need to close that space tonight. You can let the universe continue expanding quietly beyond the window. Within that universe, tiny particles called neutrinos pass through nearly everything. They are produced inside stars, nuclear reactions, and energetic cosmic events. Trillions may move through your body every second without leaving a noticeable trace. Neutrinos interact so weakly that detecting them requires enormous and sensitive instruments. Some detectors are placed deep underground. Others use vast volumes of ice, water, or carefully purified liquid. For many years, neutrinos were thought to have no mass. Then experiments showed that they can change from one type into another while traveling. This process is called neutrino oscillation. Oscillation can occur only if neutrinos have small but non-zero masses. Scientists now know that those masses exist, yet their exact values are still not completely known. Researchers know the differences between certain mass states more precisely than the masses themselves. They are also studying which neutrino is heaviest and which is lightest. This ordering is called the neutrino mass hierarchy. Another question concerns whether neutrinos are their own antiparticles. Most particles have separate antimatter partners. A neutrino may be different. If neutrinos are their own antiparticles, certain extremely rare nuclear processes might occur. Experiments are searching for such events inside large detectors shielded from background radiation. So far, no decisive signal has been confirmed. Neutrinos may also help explain why the universe contains more matter than antimatter. Their behavior in the early universe could have created a tiny imbalance. That imbalance might eventually have become stars, planets, oceans, and living cells. This idea remains one of several possibilities. The particles themselves continue traveling almost unnoticed. Some were created inside the sun only minutes ago. Others may have crossed space since distant stars exploded. They pass through planets as easily as light passes through clear glass. Their quietness makes them difficult to study. It also gives them a strange scientific usefulness. Because they rarely interact, they can escape places that ordinary light cannot. They carry information from deep inside stars and other dense environments. Each detected neutrino is a small message from a place hidden from view. Not a deliberate message, but a natural trace of an earlier event. You can let those particles move onward without following them. Their journey does not require wakefulness. Far away, black holes bring several open questions together. A black hole forms when enough matter collapses into a sufficiently small region. Its gravity becomes so strong that beyond a boundary, nothing can return. That boundary is called the event horizon. According to classical relativity, information crossing the horizon becomes inaccessible to the outside universe. Quantum theory, however, treats information as something that should not simply disappear. This conflict creates the black hole information problem. In the 1970s, physicists discovered that black holes should emit faint thermal radiation. This process is known as Hawking radiation. Over extremely long periods, a black hole may lose mass and eventually evaporate. If the radiation contains no information about what entered, then information appears to be destroyed. That would conflict with a basic principle of quantum mechanics. Many physicists now suspect that the information is somehow preserved. It may be encoded in subtle correlations within the radiation. It may be represented on the black hole's boundary. A deeper theory of quantum gravity may show how the apparent loss is avoided. Several mathematical approaches offer promising ideas, yet scientists do not have a complete experimentally tested description. The difficulty comes from combining two successful theories under extreme conditions. Relativity describes the geometry of the horizon. Quantum theory describes the microscopic behavior of matter and radiation. Near a black hole, both must work together. Some proposals suggest that space-time itself may emerge from quantum information. Others explore connections between gravity, entanglement, and geometry. These ideas are mathematically rich, but direct evidence remains limited. Real black holes are far away. Their Hawking radiation is far too faint to measure with current instruments. Researchers therefore use theory, simulations, and related laboratory systems. They also study gravitational waves from colliding black holes. Those waves test whether the objects behave as relativity predicts. So far, observations closely match the theory. Yet the deepest information question remains open. You do not need to imagine falling beyond an event horizon. Picture only a dark circle far across the universe. Around it, stars move slowly through curved space. The black hole keeps its boundary. The net around you remains gentle and familiar. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. You can let the unanswered questions drift softly past you. Across the galaxy, another puzzle arrives as particles carrying extraordinary energy. Cosmic rays are atomic nuclei and other particles moving through space. Most come from the sun, supernova remnants, and other energetic environments. A few arrive with energies far beyond anything produced by human accelerators. These are called ultra-high energy cosmic rays. They strike Earth's atmosphere only rarely. When they do, they create wide showers of secondary particles. Detectors spread across large areas measure those showers at the ground. Other instruments observe faint light produced high in the atmosphere. From these traces, scientists estimate the original particle's energy and direction. The most energetic cosmic rays may come from active galaxies with enormous central black holes. They may be produced near powerful jets extending thousands of light years. Some could come from rapidly rotating neutron stars. Others may arise in violent collisions or unknown cosmic accelerators. The challenge is that charged particles do not travel in straight lines through magnetic fields. Their paths bend through the galaxy and intergalactic space. By the time they reach Earth, they may no longer point directly toward their sources. Researchers compare many arrival directions, energies, and particle types. Some patterns suggest possible source regions, yet no complete map has been established. Scientists also study how nature accelerates particles to such extreme energies. A shockwave can gradually increase a particle's speed. Magnetic fields can trap and scatter it many times. However, reaching the highest observed energies requires an enormous and efficient accelerator. The accelerator must be large enough, powerful enough, and able to contain the particle. Only a few known cosmic environments meet these conditions. Even then, the details remain uncertain. Each rare particle may have crossed millions of light years before entering the atmosphere. It may have passed through magnetic fields that changed its direction again and again. At last, it collides with a molecule of air above a quiet landscape. A cascade begins, spreading over many kilometers. Most people below notice nothing. Only distant instruments record the event. The universe can be energetic without disturbing the calm of an ordinary night. You can remain still while those distant particles complete their journeys. Closer to the body, sleep itself contains unanswered questions. Scientists know that sleep is essential. Nearly every animal studied shows some form of recurring rest or reduced responsiveness. Humans cycle through several stages during a typical night. Deep sleep and rapid eye movement sleep have different patterns of brain activity. Sleep supports memory, immune function, metabolism, emotional regulation, and physical repair. Yet no single explanation completely describes why sleep evolved. One possibility is that sleep allows the brain to reorganize memories. Another is that it helps regulate connections between neurons. During waking hours, the brain continually adjusts those connections. Sleep may restore balance so that learning can continue efficiently. The brain also changes how fluid moves through its tissues during sleep. This may help remove certain metabolic waste products. Researchers are still studying how important this process is in humans. Energy conservation may also have shaped the evolution of sleep. Resting during less useful or more dangerous hours could have protected animals. Sleep may coordinate repair across many systems at once. Rather than serving one purpose, it probably combines several essential functions. Different species support this idea. Some animals sleep for most of the day. Others sleep only a few hours. Migrating birds can alter their sleep patterns during long journeys. Dolphins and some seals can rest one half of the brain at a time. This allows them to surface, swim, or remain alert while still sleeping. These variations show that sleep has been adapted to many environments. Yet every version requires some reduction in ordinary waking activity. Why could the brain not perform all its maintenance while fully awake? Scientists do not yet have one complete answer. Certain processes may interfere with active perception and movement. The brain may need periods when incoming information is reduced. Memory systems may require quiet intervals to reorganize recent experience. Repair may be more efficient when attention is no longer directed outward. Sleep is therefore both familiar and scientifically unfinished. You enter it every night without understanding every mechanism. Your body does not wait for a final theory. It follows rhythms shaped by light, chemistry, temperature, and habit. A small region of the brain helps coordinate the daily sleep-wake cycle. The hormone melatonin carries information about darkness. Pressure for sleep builds gradually the longer you remain awake. These systems interact rather than acting like a simple switch. That is why sleep sometimes arrives slowly. Trying too hard can make the transition feel more distant. There is nothing you need to force. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep moving gently in the background. While sleep approaches, the brain may produce a curious sensation called déjà vu. It is the feeling that a new moment has somehow happened before. Most people experience it occasionally. It is generally brief and harmless. Scientists have proposed several explanations involving memory and familiarity. The brain uses partly separate systems to recognize familiarity and recall specific details. Sometimes the feeling of familiarity may appear without a matching memory. The result is a strong sense of recognition with no identifiable source. A slight timing difference between processing pathways may also contribute. One part of a scene could be registered just before conscious awareness. When full awareness arrives, the scene may feel strangely repeated. Researchers have studied déjà vu using brain imaging, memory tasks, and reports from patients. Certain regions near the temporal lobe appear important. In some forms of epilepsy, déjà vu can occur before a seizure. However, Ordinary déjà vu in healthy people is not itself evidence of illness. It may simply reveal how recognition systems normally work. The brain is constantly deciding whether something is new, familiar, or remembered. Usually, these judgments align so smoothly that we never notice them. Déjà vu may occur when one signal briefly arrives without the others. The feeling seems mysterious because it carries certainty without explanation. Yet the event can be understood as a natural feature of memory processing. The exact mechanism may differ from one experience to another. There may not be one single cause. A familiar arrangement of light, shape, or conversation can trigger the sensation. The source may resemble an older memory that cannot be fully retrieved. The mind notices the pattern, but not its origin. Then the feeling fades, often within seconds. You do not need to search your memories for a matching moment. Let each new second remain new enough. The night can continue without repeating itself. Another unfinished question lies in the process of aging. Scientists understand many changes that accumulate as organisms grow older. DNA can be damaged. Proteins can lose their correct shapes. Cells can become less efficient at repairing themselves. Some cells stop dividing but remain active, releasing signals into surrounding tissues. The protective ends of chromosomes, called telomeres, often shorten over time. Energy-producing structures inside cells can also become less reliable. These changes interact with inflammation, metabolism, and immune function. Yet there is no single clock that explains aging completely. Different tissues age at different rates. Some species live far longer than expected for their size. Certain whales may survive for more than a century. Some small rodents show unusual resistance to age-related diseases. A few simple organisms can regenerate repeatedly and display very slow biological aging. Scientists study these species for clues. Long life may involve better DNA repair, protein maintenance, cancer suppression, or metabolic control. But a trait that helps one species may not transfer simply to another. Aging is shaped by evolution. Natural selection strongly favors traits that support survival and reproduction. It may place less pressure on maintaining the body indefinitely afterward. Several theories describe how this trade-off could produce gradual decline. Still, no theory explains every pattern across all living things. Researchers are also studying biological age. Two people of the same calendar age can differ in cellular and physiological measurements. Chemical marks on DNA can help estimate some aspects of aging. These patterns are useful, but they do not capture everything. It remains unclear which changes drive aging and which merely accompany it. Aging is not one disease with one cause. It is a network of processes unfolding at different speeds. Understanding those processes may improve health during later life, yet careful research is needed to separate genuine results from exaggerated promises. Tonight, the subject does not need to feel urgent. Aging usually unfolds slowly, across thousands of ordinary days. The cells in your body are doing what living systems have always done. They repair what they can. They replace what they can. They continue adapting to the passage of time. You can let them work quietly without supervision. The unanswered questions will still be here tomorrow. The Hubble tension will remain between two careful measurements. Neutrinos will continue changing as they travel. Black holes will keep their information hidden behind distant horizons. Cosmic rays will cross magnetic fields on their way through the galaxy. Sleep will continue arriving before its full purpose is known. For now, you can allow understanding to become less important. Facts may blur at their edges. Words may become sounds rather than ideas. The mind may loosen its hold on each new sentence. There is no need to remember where this part of the journey began. You can let the unanswered questions drift softly past you, and you can rest inside a universe that remains both understandable and unfinished. In the space between stars and galaxies, ordinary matter is more difficult to account for than it first appears. Scientists can estimate how much normal matter formed in the early universe. This matter includes atoms, gas, dust, stars, planets, and everything familiar. Yet when astronomers counted visible stars and galaxies, much of that matter seemed to be missing. It had not vanished. It was simply too faint and diffuse to detect easily. Researchers now think much of it lies in thin, warm gas between galaxies. This network is sometimes called the warm-hot intergalactic medium. It stretches along the same vast filaments where galaxies gather. The gas is so spread out that it produces very little visible light. Astronomers search for it through faint absorption marks and distant radiation. They also look for subtle X-ray signals and changes in the cosmic microwave background. Recent observations have located a large portion of the missing matter. Still, mapping it completely remains difficult. The gas may shift as galaxies form, collide, and release energy. It may flow slowly between clusters over billions of years. Some regions may be hotter, thinner, or more chemically enriched than expected. The mystery has become smaller as instruments improve, yet the full distribution of ordinary matter remains an active area of study. Imagine a nearly invisible mist connecting distant galaxies. It does not shine like a star. It quietly fills the spaces between the brighter structures. Most of the universe is not arranged into clear objects with sharp edges. Much of it exists as faint material spread across extraordinary distances. There is no need to follow every filament tonight. The cosmic web can remain soft and almost invisible in the background. Even within familiar matter, some simple substances behave in surprisingly complicated ways. Glass is one example. A glass window appears solid. Its atoms and molecules do not flow in an obvious way. Yet glass lacks the repeating crystal structure found in many ordinary solids. Its particles are arranged more like those in a liquid that has become unable to move freely. This makes glass difficult to classify with one simple description. Scientists understand how cooling can slow molecular motion. However, the exact nature of the glass transition is still not completely explained. Some theories suggest that motion becomes trapped because molecules crowd one another. Others propose that hidden forms of order develop as temperature falls. The system may explore fewer and fewer possible arrangements. Eventually, its motion becomes too slow to observe on ordinary timescales. The transition does not always behave like melting or freezing. There may be no single sharp temperature where everything changes at once. Different types of glass show different patterns. Polymers, metals, sugars, and silicate glass can all enter glass-like states. Similar behavior may even appear in biological tissues and dense collections of cells. Researchers study these systems because they connect disorder, motion, and time. A material can look completely still, while its internal structure remains out of equilibrium. Very slow changes may continue for years or centuries. This does not mean old windows flow downward in any noticeable way. Their uneven thickness usually comes from historical manufacturing methods. But the deeper question remains, how does a moving liquid become a rigid, disordered solid without forming a crystal? The answer involves many particles restricting one another in subtle ways. It is an ordinary mystery found in bottles, screens, lenses, and quiet windows. Perhaps there is a window somewhere nearby now. It holds its shape without needing to know exactly what kind of solid it is. You can rest just as quietly. Definitions do not need to be perfect before stillness becomes possible. In the oceans, another familiar phenomenon can sometimes grow far beyond expectation. Most waves are created by wind passing energy into the water. Their heights can be described statistically across a region. Occasionally, however, a wave appears much larger than those surrounding it. These are known as rogue waves. For centuries, sailors reported sudden walls of water in otherwise ordinary seas. Some reports were treated with caution because direct measurements were rare. Then, instruments began recording unusually large waves in the open ocean. Scientists now accept that rogue waves are real natural events. Yet predicting exactly where and when one will form remains difficult. Several processes may contribute. Waves traveling from different directions can briefly combine. Currents moving against waves can shorten them and increase their height. Energy may also become concentrated through nonlinear interactions within a wave field. In some conditions, a group of waves can transfer energy into one unusually large crest. No single mechanism explains every rogue wave. The ocean's shape depends on wind, depth, current, and distant storms. Small differences can influence how many wave systems meet. Researchers use satellites, buoys, radar, and computer simulations to study these events. Better understanding can improve ship design and offshore safety. Still, the exact development of an individual rogue wave may remain unpredictable. The subject need not feel alarming tonight. Most ocean waves rise and fall in ordinary patterns. Even rare large waves last only briefly before returning their energy to the surrounding sea. Imagine instead a calm shore beneath a dark sky. Small waves reach the sand at regular intervals. The larger motions of the ocean remain far beyond the horizon. You can let every imagined wave soften before it reaches you. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. You can let the unanswered questions drift softly past you. Inside the nervous system, scientists continue studying a curious experience called phantom limb sensation. After a person loses an arm or leg, the missing limb may still seem present. It can feel warm, cold, bent, heavy, or gently moving. Sometimes it may also become painful. The experience reveals that the brain's image of the body is not created only by current sensory input. The nervous system maintains an internal map of where the body is. That map can remain active after the physical limb is gone. Scientists understand several parts of this process. Nerves near the injury may continue sending signals. Brain regions that once received information from the limb may also change their responses. Nearby areas of the brain can begin influencing the unused region. Memory, movement commands, and visual information may all contribute. Yet the exact cause differs from person to person. This makes treatment difficult to predict. One approach uses a mirror to create the appearance that the missing limb is present. When the person moves the remaining limb, the reflection appears to move the absent one. For some people, this visual feedback reduces pain or releases a feeling of being stuck. Virtual reality and sensory feedback systems can create similar effects. These treatments show that the brain's body map remains flexible. However, they do not work equally well for everyone. Researchers are still studying why certain signals help reshape the experience. Phantom sensations also occur after the loss of smaller body parts. They can even appear after changes to organs or sensory systems. The brain continuously predicts what the body should feel like. Usually, these predictions match incoming information. When the body changes suddenly, the internal model may take time to adjust. The sensation is real, even though the limb is no longer physically present. It is not imagination in the casual sense. It is a natural result of how the nervous system represents the body. You can notice your own body now without examining it closely. The hands may rest wherever they have settled. The feet may feel warm beneath the blanket. The brain quietly keeps track of them without requiring conscious effort. Another unusual feature of perception is called synesthesia. In synesthesia, stimulation of one sense or concept automatically produces another experience. A person may see particular letters as having consistent colors. Music may create shapes or textures. Days of the week may seem arranged around the body in space. Numbers may have distinct personalities or locations. These experiences are usually stable across time. A certain letter may remain blue for decades. Scientists know that synesthesia is linked to differences in how brain networks communicate. Some regions may have stronger connections than usual. Other theories emphasize differences in how activity is regulated between sensory areas. Learning and childhood development may also shape the exact associations. Yet no single explanation covers every form of synesthesia. The experience varies greatly between individuals. Some people discover it only after learning that others do not perceive the world the same way. Synesthesia is not generally an illness. Many people experience it as neutral, useful, or creatively interesting. It may support memory by adding extra patterns to information. A sequence of numbers can become easier to remember when each number has a color or position. Researchers study synesthesia to understand how the brain separates and combines different kinds of experience. The senses feel distinct, yet they are never completely isolated. Vision influences hearing, smell changes taste, expectation alters touch. The brain continually weaves many signals into one coherent world. Synesthesia may reveal connections that are usually quieter or less accessible. The exact reason those connections become conscious remains open. Imagine a musical note appearing as a soft silver curve, or a number resting in a particular corner of an invisible room. The image does not need to mean anything. It can simply drift away, like a fragment of a dream. Scientists are also studying why humans and many other animals yawn. Yawning is ancient and widespread. Fish, reptiles, birds, and mammals all show yawning-like behavior. It often occurs when waking, preparing to sleep, or shifting between levels of alertness. People may also yawn after seeing or hearing another person yawn. Several explanations have been proposed. Yawning may help change alertness by stretching facial and respiratory muscles. It may influence pressure in the ears. Some studies suggest that it helps regulate brain temperature. Deep inhalation, jaw movement, and changes in blood flow could contribute to slight cooling. However, the evidence does not yet support one complete universal explanation. Different species may yawn for partly different reasons. Contagious yawning adds another layer. It may involve attention, social connection, or automatic imitation. Some animals are more likely to yawn after familiar group members. Yet the relationship between contagious yawning and empathy is not simple. Studies have produced mixed results. Fatigue, age, attention, and social context can all influence the response. Even reading about yawning can make a person yawn. The brain recognizes the pattern and may reproduce it before any conscious decision. This small mystery is harmless and ordinary. Perhaps the yawn may come now, slowly and naturally. There is no need to suppress it. The jaw can open, the breath can deepen, and the body can settle again. Sometimes the simplest unexplained behaviors are the easiest to rest beside. Another quiet question concerns why music can create such strong emotion. Music is organized sound. Its notes do not carry physical warmth, danger, food, or shelter. Yet a melody can cause comfort, tension, sadness, anticipation, or chills. Scientists have identified several systems involved. The brain predicts what sound may come next. A rhythm creates expectations about timing. Harmony creates expectations about which notes will follow. When music delays or gently fulfills those predictions, reward systems can respond. Memory also shapes the experience. A song may become connected to a place, a person, or an earlier period of life. Culture teaches listeners which patterns sound settled, unfinished, bright, or solemn. The body may synchronize slightly with rhythm. Breathing, attention, and movement can follow repeated pulses. However, these explanations do not completely capture musical emotion. Why does a sequence of tones feel meaningful before it is attached to any memory? Why do some unfamiliar melodies create immediate feeling? Why can sadness in music feel comforting rather than unpleasant? Researchers continue exploring the balance between expectation, learning, movement, and social communication. Music may have developed partly from vocal bonding. It may strengthen coordination within groups. It may also use ancient brain systems that respond to pattern sound. Different cultures create very different musical structures. Yet every known human society has some form of music. The capacity appears deeply rooted. The exact evolutionary path remains uncertain. Perhaps music does not have one purpose. It may be a meeting place for many abilities that evolve for other reasons. Pattern recognition, memory, movement, emotion, and social connection all gather within sound. That gathering becomes an experience greater than any one part. The soft background music of a quiet night does not require analysis. It can remain beneath awareness. Like breathing, it may be noticed and then forgotten. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep moving gently in the background. The human brain also creates a strong sense of where the self seems to be located. Most of the time, you feel as though you are inside your body, looking outward. This feeling is so constant that it seems simple and automatic. Yet experiments show that it can be altered. When visual and tactile signals are carefully synchronized, people may begin to feel ownership over a rubber hand. Virtual environments can shift the perceived location of the body. Certain neurological conditions can also change the sense of presence or bodily ownership. Scientists study these effects to understand how the brain constructs the self. Vision, touch, balance, internal sensation, and movement all contribute. The brain combines them into one stable model. Usually, the model is accurate enough that its construction remains invisible, yet no single region appears to contain the entire self. Different aspects arise from distributed systems. Memory supports continuity across time. Body signals create a sense of physical presence. Attention creates a point of view. Language allows the self to be described and reflected upon. Social experience influences identity and perspective. How all these processes become one unified feeling remains incompletely explained. The self may not be one object hidden inside the brain. It may be an ongoing process, updated from moment to moment. That does not make it unreal. A rainbow is also a process created through light, water, and viewpoint. It remains a real experience even without being a solid object. For tonight, the self does not need to be defined. It can become quieter as sleep approaches. The boundary between deliberate thought and drifting imagery may soften, and a clear sense of time may loosen. The room may remain present without needing to be monitored. You can allow awareness to become simple. How blanket, a breath, a distant sound, then perhaps nothing that needs a name. Across the universe, faint gas continues flowing between galaxies. Inside glass, disordered particles remain nearly still. Ocean waves combine and separate. The brain maintains its map of the body. Music turns patterns into feeling, and the sense of self is quietly rebuilt from moment to moment. Each mystery becomes less urgent when viewed gently. Science does not need every answer at once. It can observe, compare, revise, and wait. You can do even less. There is no need to observe carefully. There is no need to remember. You can let the unanswered questions continue without you. And if sleep has already begun to gather around the edges of the story, you can simply let it come. Across the visible universe, galaxies are not scattered evenly. They gather into clusters, long filaments, broad sheets, and enormous empty regions. This vast arrangement is known as the cosmic web. Gravity helps explain how slightly denser regions in the early universe grew over time. Matter gathered into those regions, while emptier spaces became even more empty. Computer simulations can reproduce much of this structure with remarkable accuracy, yet the largest cosmic patterns still raise careful questions. Some regions, called cosmic voids, stretch across hundreds of millions of light years. They contain fewer galaxies than average, but they are not completely empty. Thin gas, faint galaxies, and dark matter may still pass through them. Scientists study whether these voids grow exactly as current cosmological models predict. Their shapes and motions may reveal how gravity behaves on the largest scales. They may also provide clues about dark energy. A galaxy near a void can be pulled toward denser structures outside it. From within, this may look as though the void itself is gently pushing matter away. Nothing is truly pushing in the ordinary sense. The motion emerges because surrounding regions contain more gravity. Researchers compared detailed sky surveys with simulations of the early universe. Most observations fit the standard picture well. Still, unusual large-scale features sometimes appear larger or emptier than expected. Some may be statistical accidents in an enormous universe. Others may reflect limits in current measurements. Scientists are still studying how much variation should naturally occur. Imagine the cosmic web as a faint structure made from light and invisible matter. Galaxies gather along its threads like soft beads in darkness. Between them lie wide spaces where very little happens quickly. Those quiet regions are not failures of creation. They are part of the universe's natural design. You can rest beside that immense emptiness without needing to fill it. Closer to the sun, another pattern repeats approximately every 11 years. Dark regions called sunspots become more common, then gradually become rare again. Sunspots form where strong magnetic fields interrupt the flow of heat through the solar surface. They often appear in pairs or groups. Their numbers rise and fall during the solar cycle. Scientists understand that the cycle comes from the sun's magnetic dynamo. Hot electrically charged material moves through the solar interior. The sun rotates faster near its equator than near its poles. These motions stretch, twist, and reorganize magnetic fields. Eventually, the sun's global magnetic direction reverses. Then the process begins again. The broad cycle is well established. Yet predicting the exact strength and timing of each cycle remains difficult. Some solar cycles are intense, with many sunspots and energetic eruptions. Others are quieter. Small differences deep inside the sun may grow over many years. The flows responsible for the magnetic cycle are hidden beneath the visible surface. Scientists infer them through vibrations, magnetic measurements, and computer models. These methods reveal important patterns, but not every detail. Solar activity also varies across longer periods. Historical records describe decades when very few sunspots were observed. Researchers are still studying why the solar dynamo sometimes becomes unusually quiet. Better predictions matter because solar activity can affect satellites, radio signals, and electrical systems. Yet from the ground, the cycle remains slow and distant. The sun does not suddenly change from one day to the next. Its magnetic fields shift through years of patient motion. Tonight, the solar surface is far beyond the atmosphere. Whatever patterns are turning there can remain safely outside your thoughts. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. You can let the unanswered questions drift softly past you. Inside every living cell, proteins perform much of the work required for life. They carry signals, build structures, move molecules, and speed chemical reactions. A protein begins as a chain of smaller units called amino acids. The order of those units is determined by genetic information. After the chain is made, it folds into a particular three-dimensional shape. That shape is essential to what the protein can do. Scientists understand many forces involved in folding. Some parts of the chain avoid water. Others form electrical attractions or hydrogen bonds. The surrounding fluid, temperature, and nearby molecules also influence the process. Modern computer systems can often predict a protein's final structure from its sequence. This has transformed biology. Yet predicting the final shape is not the same as completely understanding the folding journey. A protein may pass through many temporary arrangements before reaching stability. Some fold within fractions of a second. Others require assistance from specialized molecules called chaperones. Certain proteins remain flexible rather than settling into one rigid structure. These are called intrinsically disordered proteins. Their changing shapes may allow them to interact with many different partners. Scientists are still studying how cells control this flexibility. Misfolding adds another layer. A protein can sometimes settle into the wrong arrangement. Cells have systems that repair, refold, or remove damaged proteins. When those systems fail, proteins may gather into harmful clusters. Researchers continue investigating why some proteins misfold only after many years. The question connects chemistry, aging, stress, and cellular maintenance. The remarkable part is not that folding sometimes fails. It is that proteins usually fold correctly in the crowded interior of a cell. Countless molecules are moving nearby. The temperature shifts slightly. New proteins are constantly being created. Still, the cell maintains order through many overlapping systems. You do not need to picture those systems clearly. They continue quietly in every tissue while you rest. Chains fold, unfold, and settle into useful shapes without conscious direction. Life has always depended on processes too small to notice. Another gentle mystery appears when living tissues repair themselves. Humans can heal cuts and mend broken bones. The liver can regrow a significant amount of lost tissue. Yet many animals possess far greater regenerative abilities. A salamander can regrow a limb. Certain fish can repair damaged heart tissue. Flatworms, called planarians, can rebuild entire bodies from small fragments. Scientists know that regeneration depends on stem cells, genetic signals, and carefully controlled growth. Cells near an injury change their behavior. Some return to a more flexible state. Others divide, migrate, and rebuild missing structures. Nerves, blood vessels, muscle, and skin must grow in the correct arrangement. The new tissue must also stop growing at the right time. Researchers have identified many genes involved. Some of those genes are also present in humans. Yet the same regenerative program is not fully available in most adult human tissues. Scientists are still studying why evolution preserved strong regeneration in some species, but reduced it in others. One possibility involves trade-offs. Rapid cell growth can repair damage, but uncontrolled growth can also increase cancer risk. A strong immune response can protect against infection, yet it may create scar tissue that blocks regeneration. Body size, lifespan, and energy use may also influence what forms of repair are practical. Even among closely related animals, regenerative ability can differ greatly. The mystery is not one missing gene. It is a network of timing, immunity, growth, and tissue communication. Understanding these networks may one day improve healing. For now, the subject can remain simple. A small animal in a quiet pond can replace what it has lost. Its cells gather around the injury and slowly remember what shape belongs there. No cell sees the complete design, yet together they reconstruct fins, nerves, bone, or skin. Complex form returns due many local decisions. Your own body also repairs itself through quieter versions of this process. Skin renews, blood cells are replaced. Tiny areas of damage are corrected before you ever notice them. The work continues while attention drifts elsewhere. Scientists are also exploring life far beneath Earth's surface. Deep underground, cracks and pores contain water, minerals, and microorganisms. Some microbes live kilometers below land or seafloor. They survive without sunlight and with very little available energy. Their metabolism may proceed extraordinarily slowly. A single cell might divide only after many years. Some communities may have remained isolated for extremely long periods. Scientists call this hidden region the deep biosphere. Its total amount of life may be enormous, even though it is spread very thinly. Researchers have found organisms using hydrogen produced by reactions between water and rock. Others depend on sulfur, methane, iron, or radioactive decay within minerals. These ecosystems show that life can persist under conditions once thought nearly impossible. Yet many basic questions remain. How deep can life survive? How little energy can a cell use while still remaining alive? How long can biological repair continue without ordinary growth? It is not always easy to distinguish a dormant cell from a dead one. A microbe may remain inactive for centuries, then respond when conditions improve. Researchers must also avoid contamination when drilling into ancient rock. A single modern organism introduced from the surface can confuse the evidence. Careful sampling therefore requires sterile equipment and repeated controls. The deep biosphere may influence the chemistry of rocks, oceans, and the atmosphere. Its organisms slowly transform carbon and other elements over geological time. Yet because their activity is so slow, direct measurement can be difficult. Life there may exist close to the lowest possible energy limit. Imagine a tiny cell resting within a crack in stone. No day or night reaches it. No season passes in any familiar way. Chemical reactions occur slowly enough to feel almost still, and yet the cell may remain capable of repair, response, and continuation. There is something calming about life requiring so little motion. You can allow yourself even less effort now. Breathing is enough. Resting is enough. The story can continue without careful attention. Another small scientific puzzle is found in an ordinary piece of ice. Ice feels slippery beneath a shoe, skate, or fingertip. For a long time, people often explain this through pressure. The idea was that pressure lowers the melting point and creates a thin layer of water. Pressure can contribute under some conditions. However, it does not explain every case. Ice remains slippery even when pressure is too low to melt it significantly. Friction also generates heat. A moving skate or shoe can warm the surface and create a thin liquid layer. Yet ice can feel slippery before much movement occurs. Scientists now know that the surface of ice is unusual. Water molecules, they are not held as tightly as those deeper within the crystal. This creates a very thin, mobile layer that behaves somewhat like liquid water. The thickness of that layer changes with temperature. Near the melting point, it becomes more noticeable. At very low temperatures, ice can become less slippery. The complete behavior depends on pressure, speed, temperature, surface roughness, and the material touching it. Researchers can describe many parts of the process. Still, the exact balance differs from one situation to another. A simple question, therefore, leads into molecular structure, friction, and heat. The answer is not one single mechanism. It is several quiet effects working together. You can imagine a frozen lake under moonlight. Its surface looks perfectly still. At the molecular scale, however, the outermost water molecules remain slightly restless. Even a solid surface can have a softer boundary. Sometimes warm water appears to freeze faster than cooler water. This surprising observation is often called the Mpemba effect. It does not happen under every condition. In many experiments, colder water freezes first, as ordinary intuition suggests. Yet under certain setups, a warmer sample can reach the frozen state sooner. Scientists have proposed several explanations. Warm water may lose more mass through evaporation. It may create stronger convection currents that move heat efficiently. Heating can remove dissolved gases. It can also change how the container contacts the cold surface. The cooler sample may become supercooled, remaining liquid below its normal freezing point. The warmer sample may begin forming ice sooner, despite starting at a higher temperature. Different experiments emphasize different mechanisms. This is why reproducing the effect can be difficult. The phrase does not describe one universal law, where hot water always freezes first. It describes a family of conditions where initial warmth changes the later cooling process. Researchers continue debating how best to define and test it. The lesson is gentle. A system's history can matter as much as its starting temperature. 2 containers of water can reach the same temperature while retaining different internal motions and structures. What happened earlier can influence what happens next. Water remembers nothing consciously, yet its physical state carries traces of its path. You do not need to compare 2 containers tonight. Let them both sit quietly in an imaginary winter room. One cools quickly. The other follows its own slower path. Both eventually become still. Within human populations, another open question concerns why most people prefer one hand. Roughly 9 out of 10 people are right-handed. A smaller group prefers the left. A few people use both hands with similar ease. Handedness appears before birth. Ultrasound studies show that some fetuses already favor one arm or thumb. Genetics contributes, but no single gene decides the outcome. Many genes seem to influence brain development, body symmetry, and motor control. Environment and chance also play roles. Identical twins can have different dominant hands. This shows that shared genes do not produce an identical result. Scientists are still studying why human populations have such a strong right-handed majority. Language may be connected. For many people, language systems are concentrated more strongly in the left side of the brain. That side also controls the right hand, yet the relationship is not simple. Many left-handed people also process language, mainly on the left. Hand preference may have developed through tool use, cooperation, social learning, or efficient division of labor between brain regions. Some evolutionary models suggest that having a common preference helps people share tools and coordinate actions. A smaller minority, with the opposite preference, might retain advantages in competition or surprise. These ideas are difficult to test across deep history. Handedness leaves only indirect traces in ancient tools and skeletal remains. The complete explanation probably combines biology, development, culture, and chance. You can notice which hand rests more naturally tonight. There is no need to move it. Its preference formed through processes you never had to choose. The body often settles into patterns long before the mind asks why. Laughter presents another familiar behavior whose full purpose remains unfinished. People laugh during humor, play, relief, nervousness, and social connection. Babies laugh before they can understand language. Some other animals produce laughter-like sounds during play. Rats make ultrasonic vocalizations when playing or being gently tickled. Great apes produce breathy sounds during social games. This suggests that laughter has deep evolutionary roots. Scientists know that laughter involves breathing, vocal control, emotion, and social processing. It can release tension and signal friendliness. Shared laughter may strengthen bonds within a group. It can show that an unexpected event is safe rather than threatening. Yet not all laughter follows something funny. People often laugh during ordinary conversation. Much of it appears after simple comments rather than formal jokes. Laughter may therefore function partly as social punctuation. It can soften disagreement, invite closeness, or confirm shared attention. Researchers are still studying why laughter is so contagious. Hearing another person laugh can activate motor and emotional systems automatically. The response may help groups synchronize mood. However, context changes everything. The same sound can feel warm, awkward, nervous, or unkind. The brain interprets tone, timing, expression, and social relationship at once. No single theory explains every laugh. Perhaps laughter survived because it serves many purposes. It can be play, release, communication, and rhythm within conversation. A quiet smile may appear before any sound. The body responds before a full explanation arrives. Tonight, there is no need to search for anything amusing. You can simply remember that some mysteries are light enough to laugh beside. Language itself is one of the largest of those mysteries. Every known human culture has language. Children learn it with remarkable speed. They identify words, sounds, and grammatical patterns without formal instruction. The brain seems prepared to discover structure in speech. Yet scientists do not know exactly how language first evolved. Spoken language leaves no direct fossil. Ancient bones can reveal parts of the vocal tract and brain size. Tools in art can suggest planning and symbolic thought. But the first conversations disappeared the moment their sounds faded. Language may have developed gradually from gestures, calls, rhythm, and shared attention. It may have been shaped by cooperation, teaching, courtship, or group identity. Some researchers emphasize changes in brain circuitry. Others focus on social complexity and cultural learning. Genes involved in speech and language provide clues, but none acts alone. Human language also differs from animal communication in scale and flexibility. Many animals signal danger, food, location, or identity. Some can learn symbols and combine them in limited ways. Humans, however, can describe events that never happened. They can discuss distant galaxies, future plans, and imaginary worlds. How this open-ended ability emerged remains one of evolution's great questions. Language may not have appeared in one sudden step. Small improvements in memory, vocal control, imitation, and social understanding may have reinforced one another. Culture, could then increase complexity across generations. The system may have shaped the brain, while the brain shaped the system. Every sentence you hear tonight depends on that long, unfinished history. Air moves through the throat. Sound reaches the ear. The brain turns vibration into meaning. That meaning begins to fade as sleep approaches. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep moving gently in the background. The cosmic web can stretch across the darkness. The sun can continue its slow magnetic cycle. Proteins can fold within living cells. Deep microbes can wait inside stone. Ice can keep its mobile surface. Water can cool according to its hidden history. Hands can rest in their preferred positions. Language can soften back into sound. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. Some questions are large enough to hold many generations of careful study. Others remain inside ordinary things we touch every day. Science moves closer through better measurements and gentler corrections. It does not lose its wonder when an answer becomes clearer, and it does not fail when an answer remains incomplete. For now, you can let incompleteness feel peaceful. The world does not need to be fully explained before it can hold you safely. You can rest while the questions continue their slow and patient unfolding. Water covers most of Earth's surface, filling oceans, clouds, rivers, ice, and living cells. Yet scientists are still studying exactly where all of that water originally came from. The young Earth formed from hot material orbiting the early sun. During its earliest history, repeated collisions released enormous amounts of heat. Much of the planet's first atmosphere may have escaped into space. This once suggested that Earth's water arrived later, carried by icy comets. Comets do contain water, and some certainly collided with the young planet. However, many measured comets contain water with a different chemical signature from Earth's oceans. Asteroids rich in water-bearing minerals may be a closer match. These objects could have delivered large amounts of water during Earth's formation. Another possibility is that much of the water was present within the planet's original building material. Hydrogen, stored inside minerals, may have been released gradually through volcanic activity. The oceans may therefore have several origins rather than one. Some water could have arrived from space. Some may have emerged from deep within the growing planet. Scientists compare the proportions of different hydrogen forms in meteorites, comets, rocks, and seawater. These chemical ratios act like faint historical fingerprints. Yet billions of years of recycling have blurred the original pattern. Water enters the mantle, rises through volcanoes, freezes, melts, evaporates, and falls again. The molecules in one glass of water may have followed countless paths through Earth. Some may once have been locked inside ancient rock. Others may have drifted through the atmosphere before the first forests existed. The complete history of Earth's oceans remains unfinished. Still, every river and cloud belongs to that long planetary cycle. You can imagine the oceans forming slowly beneath a dim young sun. Rain falls across cooling stone. Small basins gather into larger seas. There is no need to know which drop arrived first. The water simply continues moving through its ancient patterns. Deep within the mantle, Earth also carries another open question. Scientists know that the outer shell is divided into moving tectonic plates. These plates separate, collide, slide past one another, and sink into the mantle. Their movement shapes continents, mountains, ocean basins, and volcanic arcs. Plate tectonics is one of geology's strongest and most useful theories. Yet researchers still debate when it began. The early Earth was hotter than the planet is today. Its crust may have behaved very differently. Some evidence suggests that plate-like movement began more than 3 billion years ago. Other studies indicate that modern plate tectonics developed later. Ancient rocks have been folded, heated, buried, and chemically altered. This makes their original histories difficult to read. The first continents may have formed under a different style of crustal movement. Instead of large plates, the surface may have consisted of smaller, unstable regions. Hot material could have risen and broken the crust from below. Dense pieces may have sunk without forming the organized plate boundaries seen today. Eventually, cooling may have allowed the present system to become established. Scientists are still studying what triggered that transition. Water may have weakened rocks and helped plates slide into the mantle. Growing continents may have changed the balance of forces. Impacts, mantle currents, and changes in crustal thickness could also have contributed. Plate tectonics helps regulate Earth's long-term climate. It moves carbon between the atmosphere, oceans, rocks, and mantle. It also creates varied environments where life can evolve. If tectonic activity began gradually, then Earth's habitability may also have developed gradually. The exact sequence remains one of planetary science's open questions. Tonight, however, the continents move too slowly to notice. A fingernail grows much faster than most plates travel. Mountains rise across millions of years. Oceans open and close across spans longer than any human memory. You can let the planet continue that slow rearrangement beneath you. Nothing needs to move quickly here. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. You can let the unanswered questions drift softly past you. In the coldest laboratories, some materials reveal another unfinished puzzle. When cooled below a certain temperature, they can carry electrical current without resistance. This state is called superconductivity. In an ordinary wire, moving electrons lose energy through interactions with the material. Some of that energy becomes heat. In a superconductor, the resistance can fall to effectively zero. A current may continue without the usual loss. Superconductors can also exclude magnetic fields from their interiors. This allows magnets to levitate above certain materials. For conventional superconductors, scientists understand the basic mechanism well. Electrons interact with vibrations in the crystal structure. Under suitable conditions, they form linked pairs. These pairs move collectively without ordinary resistance. However, some materials become superconducting at much higher temperatures than this theory easily explains. They are still cold by everyday standards, yet they are warm enough to challenge the simplest models. These high-temperature superconductors often contain thin layers of copper and oxygen. Their electrons interact very strongly. Instead of behaving like mostly independent particles, they form a complicated collective state. Scientists have studied these materials for decades. They have mapped their magnetic behavior, crystal structures, and electronic patterns. Still, no complete theory is accepted by everyone. The same materials can also enter unusual states before superconductivity begins. Electrical resistance may behave in ways unlike ordinary metals. Patterns of charge may appear across the crystal. Magnetism and superconductivity may compete or cooperate. Understanding these relationships could lead to materials that work at more practical temperatures. Such materials might improve energy transmission, medical imaging, transportation, and scientific instruments. Yet progress requires careful evidence. Claims of room temperature, superconductivity receive intense scrutiny because the consequences would be enormous. A result must be repeatable and clearly separated from ordinary electrical effects. For now, superconductivity remains both useful and partly mysterious. It shows how many particles can create behavior. No single particle possesses alone. Electrons that only scatter become part of one coordinated quantum state. A cold piece of material begins carrying current with almost perfect ease. You do not need to follow the electrons tonight. Imagine only a small ring of current continuing quietly in a dark laboratory. No spark is needed. No sound is produced. The motion persists because resistance has gently disappeared. A related puzzle appears in materials called strange metals. Ordinary metals conduct electricity through mobile electrons. Their resistance usually follows familiar patterns as temperature changes. In strange metals, however, resistance can increase in a remarkably simple way. It may rise almost directly with temperature across a wide range. The behavior appears in several strongly interacting materials. It also appears near transitions between different quantum states. Scientists suspect that the particles are losing energy as quickly as quantum mechanics allows. Yet the full explanation remains uncertain. The electrons may no longer behave like separate, long-lived objects. Instead, the material may act like a collective fluid. Some mathematical models connect this behavior to ideas from black holes and quantum gravity. These connections do not mean that a metal contains a tiny black hole. They mean that similar mathematical patterns may describe very different systems. This can happen when many interacting parts produce universal behavior. Physicists hope strange metals will reveal principles applying across several areas of science. The subject remains technical, but its image can be simple. A small crystal rests between measuring wires. As its temperature changes, the flow of electricity follows an unexpected rhythm. The material obeys precise rules. Scientists simply have not yet found the deepest description of those rules. You can let the crystal remain on its quiet table. Its unanswered equations do not need your attention. Within living history, another major transition is still being reconstructed. The earliest life consisted of simple cells without a nucleus. Today, animals, plants, fungi, and many microorganisms are built from more complex cells. These cells contain internal structures called organelles. One of them, the mitochondrion, helps convert food into usable energy. Evidence shows that mitochondria began as free-living bacteria. Long ago, one cell entered another and remained there. Instead of being digested, it became a permanent partner. Over time, many of its genes moved into the host cell's DNA. The two organisms became increasingly dependent on one another. This event helped create the complex cells known as eukaryotes. Scientists strongly support this broad story. Mitochondria still contain their own small genomes. They divide in ways resembling bacteria. Their membranes also preserve clues to their independent origin. Yet many details remain uncertain. What kind of host cell first accepted the bacterial partner? Did the partnership begin through predation, accidental engulfment, or mutual exchange? Which came first, a nucleus or the mitochondrial partnership? How quickly did the two organisms become inseparable? Different models arrange these steps in different orders. The fossil record of early cells is limited. Soft, microscopic organisms leave only subtle traces. Genetic evidence has also been reshaped by billions of years of evolution. Genes moved between organisms, disappeared, duplicated, and changed function. Researchers compare modern microbes to reconstruct the ancient partnership. Some close relatives of the original host may still exist in unusual environments. Yet no living species is an unchanged version of that ancestor. The transition may have happened only once in Earth's history. Every known complex cell appears to share the same deep mitochondrial origin. If so, the event was both rare and extraordinarily important. Without it, large energy-demanding organisms may never have evolved. Plants, animals, forests, and human brains all depend on that ancient cellular partnership. Inside your cells, mitochondria continue dividing and producing energy. They are no longer separate organisms, yet they still carry faint traces of a life once lived independently. There is something peaceful in that history. Two forms of life met in the distant past. Instead of remaining separate, they gradually became one system. The exact beginning is still not fully understood. The partnership itself continues quietly in nearly every breath. Another evolutionary question concerns why sexual reproduction became so widespread. Many organisms reproduce by combining genetic material from two individuals. Mice. This process is complicated. It requires finding partners, producing specialized cells, and mixing successful gene combinations. A population reproducing without sex could sometimes grow more quickly. Each individual could pass on all of its genes. From that perspective, sexual reproduction seems costly, yet it has persisted across animals, plants, fungi, and many single-celled organisms. Scientists have proposed several explanations. Mixing genes creates variation among offspring. This variation can help populations adapt to changing environments. It can also combine useful mutations from different individuals. Without genetic mixing, harmful mutations may gradually accumulate. Sexual reproduction can help separate those mutations from beneficial genes. Another important idea involves parasites. Parasites evolve quickly to exploit common host defenses. By producing genetically varied offspring, hosts create moving targets. A combination that resists one parasite today may differ from the combination needed later. This continuing evolutionary competition is sometimes called the Red Queen hypothesis. No single explanation appears sufficient for every organism. The benefits of sex depend on population size, environment, mutation rate, and life history. Some species reproduce sexually under stressful conditions and asexually at other times. This suggests that genetic mixing becomes especially useful when the future is uncertain. Researchers are still studying how the earliest forms of sexual reproduction developed. Cells may first have exchanged DNA for repair. Later, those exchanges could have become linked to reproduction. The familiar division into male and female gametes also evolved gradually. The full history is written across billions of generations. You do not need to think about competition tonight. The deeper idea can remain soft. Life survives partly by creating variation. It does not repeat the same form forever. Each generation carries a slightly different arrangement into the future. Some differences matter. Most simply become part of the endless variety of living things. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep moving gently in the background. In forests, oceans, and grasslands, animals sometimes sleep in ways scientists still find surprising. Octopuses, for example, show changing patterns of skin color while resting. Their bodies may become pale and still during one phase. Later, their eyes move, muscles twitch, and rapid color patterns pass across their skin. These alternating states resemble some features of quiet and active sleep in vertebrates. Researchers have wondered whether octopuses experience something like dreaming. No one can directly know the inner experience of another species. Scientists therefore study measurable behavior and brain activity. An octopus has a nervous system very different from ours. Much of its neural processing occurs in its arms. Each arm can perform complex movements with some independence. The central brain coordinates the whole animal, but control is widely distributed. This makes octopus sleep especially interesting. If dreamlike activity exists, It may arise in a mind organized unlike a human brain. Color changes during active sleep may reflect changing neural patterns. They may also be automatic muscle activity without any visual experience. Researchers are still studying the possibilities. The question is approached carefully. Similar behavior does not necessarily mean identical experience. An octopus may have a form of sleep shaped by its own evolutionary history, its ancestors separated from ours, hundreds of millions of years ago. Complex intelligence developed along a very different path. Octopuses solve problems, explore objects, remember locations, and adapt their behavior. Yet their bodies, senses, and nervous systems create a world unlike our own. Imagine one resting inside a rocky shelter beneath calm water. Its arms curled gently around its body. Soft colors move across the skin and disappear. Whatever is happening inside remains private. The water outside continues its slow movement. Not every sleeping mind needs to dream in the same language. Whale songs offer another gentle, open question. Some whale species produce long, patterned sequences of sound. Humpback whale songs can contain repeated themes arranged into larger structures. Males within the same population often sing broadly similar songs. Over time, the songs change. New patterns can spread through groups across large ocean regions. Scientists know that the songs are connected to breeding behavior. They may advertise fitness, attract mates, organize spacing, or interact with rival males. Yet the exact meaning of many song elements remains uncertain. A whale may repeat one phrase for hours. It may adjust timing, pitch, or sequence after hearing others. Sometimes an entirely new song pattern moves from one population to another. This resembles a form of cultural transmission. The whales learn from one another rather than relying only on inherited calls. Researchers record songs using underwater microphones. They compare patterns across seasons and locations. They also observe how whales move while singing. Still, it is difficult to test how another whale interprets each sound. Ocean acoustics are complex. Low frequencies can travel great distances. Currents, temperature layers, and seafloor shape influence the path of sound. A song may reach individuals many kilometers away. Its structure may help it remain recognizable after passing through changing water. Scientists are still studying whether whale songs contain anything resembling grammatical organization. The patterns are clearly structured. However, structure alone does not prove language in the human sense. The safest conclusion is that the songs carry social and reproductive information. How detailed that information is remains open. You can imagine the sound as a slow tone moving through dark blue water. It passes through currents and around distant seamounts. Another whale may hear it far beyond the horizon. Then the sound fades into the wider ocean. There's no need to translate it tonight. Some natural patterns can be meaningful without being fully understood. The human body also produces a small social signal whose purpose remains uncertain. Blushing occurs when blood vessels in the face widen. The cheeks, ears, neck, or upper chest may become visibly warmer and redder. It often happens after embarrassment, praise, unwanted attention, or social mistakes. Humans appear to blush more visibly than most other animals. Charles Darwin described it as one of the most unusual human expressions. Scientists understand the basic physiology. The autonomic nervous system changes blood flow without conscious control. Yet why evolution preserved such an obvious signal is still debated. Blushing may communicate honesty. A person who visibly reacts to a social mistake shows awareness of shared rules. The involuntary nature of the response may make it difficult to fake. Observers may become more forgiving when they see genuine embarrassment. Blushing could therefore help repair social relationships. It may also signal modesty after praise. By showing discomfort with excessive attention, a person may reduce tension within a group. However, blushing can also create distress. People who fear blushing may become more likely to blush. Attention turns inward, increasing the physical response. This creates a loop between expectation, bodily change, and social awareness. Researchers continue studying why the response is strong in some people and mild in others. Culture may influence when blushing occurs, yet the underlying reaction appears across many societies. The mystery is small and deeply human. The body reveals a feeling before language chooses what to say. Tonight, there is no audience to evaluate you. Nothing needs to be performed or explained. The face can rest without being watched. Another ordinary mystery is why some parts of the body are ticklish. A light touch on the ribs, feet, neck, or underarms can cause laughter and sudden movement. Yet trying to tickle yourself usually has little effect. The brain predicts sensations caused by your own movements. It reduces the response to expected touch. When another person produces the same movement, the timing and location are less predictable. The sensation becomes stronger. Scientists think ticklishness may have several origins. It can encourage playful bonding between parents and children. It may also protect vulnerable areas of the body. A sudden touch near the neck or abdomen quickly draws attention. Laughter during tickling does not always mean the sensation is entirely pleasant. It can occur automatically even when a person wants the touch to stop. This shows that laughter is not a simple measure of enjoyment. Researchers distinguish between a light crawling sensation and deeper laughter. Producing tickling. The first may help detect insects or small movements on the skin. The second appears more strongly connected to social play. Why the body combines defense, laughter, and social interaction remains unresolved. Other animals show ticklish responses too. Some apes laugh during playful touch. Rats produce high-frequency calls when tickled under suitable conditions. This suggests that playful touch has ancient roots in mammalian behavior. The exact purpose may vary between species. No ticklish sensation needs to appear now. The blanket can remain still against the skin. Predictable pressure usually feels calm because the brain knows where it comes from. The body distinguishes the familiar from the unexpected without conscious effort. Outside the body, the air itself carries another open question through the movement of smell. A scent is made from molecules released into the air. Those molecules reach receptors inside the nose. Humans possess hundreds of receptor types. Each odor activates a combination of them. The brain interprets the resulting pattern as coffee, rain, wood, smoke, flowers, or something unfamiliar. Scientists understand many steps in this pathway. Yet predicting smell directly from molecular structure remains difficult. Two molecules with similar shapes can smell very different. Molecules with different structures can sometimes produce similar odors. Concentration can also change the experience. A substance pleasant in a tiny amount may become sharp or unpleasant when stronger. Mixtures create another challenge. The smell of a rose does not come from one molecule. It emerges from many compounds blended in particular proportions. The brain may perceive the mixture as one unified scent rather than separate ingredients. Memory and emotion strongly influence smell. A faint odor can bring back a place from many years earlier. The olfactory system connects closely with brain regions involved in emotion and memory. Yet scientists are still studying why odor memories can feel so immediate. Smell also varies greatly among individuals. Genetic differences change which molecules a person can detect. One person may find a scent strong while another barely notices it. some molecules smell pleasant to certain people and unpleasant to others. There is no simple map translating chemical structure into universal experience. Researchers use large datasets and machine learning to search for patterns. Progress is steady, but the complete code of smell remains unfinished. Imagine a quiet room with the faint scent of rain from an open window. The molecules arrive without needing to be identified. The mind notices them briefly, then allows them to fade. Not every sensation needs a name. The origin of Earth's water can remain spread across several possibilities. The first plate boundaries can stay hidden in altered rocks. Electrons can pair inside cold materials. Ancient cells can keep the details of their partnership. Whales can sing beneath distant water. The face can blush, the body can laugh, and scent can awaken forgotten places. Each mystery rests within ordinary nature. None needs to become dramatic. Science approaches them with instruments, experiments, patience, and doubt. Some answers become clearer within years. Others may require generations. There is no need to solve every mystery tonight. You can let the unanswered questions drift softly past you. Words may now become less important than rhythm. Ideas may arrive without needing to remain. The mind can release one subject before the next begins. And if sleep is already close, you can let the unfinished world continue quietly without you. Across galaxies, clusters, and the spaces between them, magnetic fields appear almost everywhere. Astronomers look. They guide charged particles, shape glowing gas, and influence how stars are born. Yet scientists are still studying where the universe's first magnetic fields came from. Today, galaxies contain fields extending across thousands of light years. Some galaxy clusters contain even larger fields, woven through hot, thin gas. These fields may have grown stronger through the motion of electrically charged matter. Rotating galaxies can stretch and organize weak magnetic seeds. Turbulent gas can fold field lines repeatedly, increasing their strength over time. This process is often called a magnetic dynamo. Dynamos operate inside planets, stars, and perhaps entire galaxies. But every dynamo needs an earlier field to begin with. That original field may have been extremely weak. It could have formed during the early universe, when matter and radiation were arranged differently. Small electrical imbalances may have created the first magnetic seeds. Violent events around young stars and black holes may also have spread magnetic fields through space. Scientists are still comparing these possibilities. Observations of very distant galaxies suggest that strong fields existed surprisingly early. This means cosmic magnetism may have developed quickly. Future radio telescopes may trace those fields across greater distances and earlier times. For now, their beginnings remain faint and unfinished. Imagine invisible lines passing quietly through a distant galaxy. They bend around clouds, guide particles, and shape light we can barely detect. No compass could show their full direction, yet they form part of the hidden structure of the universe. You can let those distant fields remain invisible tonight. There is no need to map everything that cannot be seen. Long before familiar galaxies formed, the universe passed through a period without stars. Hydrogen and helium filled, expanding space. The first atoms had formed, but no suns had yet begun to shine. Scientists sometimes call this interval the cosmic dark ages. Gravity slowly gathered gas into denser regions. Eventually, the first stars ignited. They were probably different from most stars alive today. The early universe contained almost no heavy elements. The first stars may therefore have grown unusually massive. They may have burned brightly and lived only briefly. Inside them, the first heavier elements were created. Their explosions scattered carbon, oxygen, silicon, iron, and other materials into space. Later stars formed from that enriched gas. Planets and living chemistry eventually became possible. Scientists understand this broad sequence, yet no telescope has clearly observed the very first generation of stars. Researchers are still studying how large they were and how often they formed. Some may have collapsed directly into black holes. Those black holes could have become the seeds of the enormous objects now found in galactic centers. However, astronomers have discovered very massive black holes, surprisingly early in cosmic history. How they grew so quickly remains one of astronomy's open questions. Perhaps the first black hole seeds were larger than expected. They may have consumed matter unusually efficiently. Several smaller objects may have merged together. The environment of the early universe may have allowed rapid growth that is rare today. New telescopes are observing galaxies from increasingly ancient periods. Each faint point of infrared light offers another clue. Still, the first stars remain beyond direct view. Their light has been stretched, scattered, and absorbed across cosmic time. Yet the elements they created are present all around you. The oxygen you breathe was once formed inside stars. The calcium in bone and the iron carried in blood share that deep history. The first stars disappeared long ago. Their work continues in every world that formed afterward. There is no need to imagine their explosions. Picture only the first small lights appearing within a wide and quiet darkness. One star begins, then another. The universe slowly becomes luminous. On Earth, life also passed through periods of remarkable change. For billions of years, most organisms were microscopic. Then, during the Cambrian period, many complex animal forms appeared in the fossil record. This interval began more than 500 million years ago. It is sometimes called the Cambrian explosion. The word explosion describes rapid evolutionary diversification across geological time. It does not mean that complex animals appeared suddenly in one moment. The change unfolded across millions of years. Earlier organisms had already developed multicellular bodies. Some could move, feed, and respond to their surroundings. During the Cambrian, however, many new body plans became more visible and widespread. Hard shells and skeletons also became common. These structures fossilized more easily than soft bodies. This may make the transition appear sharper than it truly was. Scientists have proposed several reasons for the diversification. Oxygen levels may have risen enough to support more active animals. Predation may have created new evolutionary pressures. Once some animals began hunting, others benefited from armor, speed, burrowing, and improved senses. Changes in ocean chemistry may have allowed shells and skeletons to form more easily. Developmental genes may also have enabled greater variation in body structure. No single explanation completely accounts for every pattern. Several changes probably reinforce one another. Ecology, chemistry, genetics, and the environment all became part of the same transition. Researchers continue studying fossils from before and during the Cambrian. New discoveries often blur the boundaries between simple and complex life. Evolution rarely follows one clean line. It branches, experiments, and preserves some forms while others disappear. Imagine a shallow ancient sea beneath a pale sky. Small creatures move across the seafloor. Some leave faint trails in soft sediment. Others rest beneath thin coverings of sand. They do not know that future scientists will study the marks they leave behind. They are simply living within the possibilities available to them. You can let that ancient sea become quiet again. its evolutionary questions can remain buried gently in stone. Even earlier, life faced another major transition. Single cells began cooperating in groups. Over time, some groups became true multicellular organisms. Cells divided their responsibilities. Some specialized in movement. Others gathered nutrients, protected the group, or produced reproductive cells. Multicellularity evolved more than once. Plants, animals, fungi, and several kinds of algae reached it through different paths. This shows that cooperation between cells can arise under many conditions. Yet scientists are still studying how stable cooperation begins. A cell that reproduces only for itself can sometimes gain a short-term advantage. Within a multicellular body, however, uncontrolled growth can damage the entire organism. Successful multicellularity, therefore, requires systems that limit selfish behavior. Cells must communicate.